Hello, dear chess fans. This is Latvian Grandmaster Art Connections, and I'm very pleased to resume the live coverage of the 54th Biel Chess Festival. This is day 4. Yeah, technically, we didn't have a stream yesterday because yesterday was a rest day for the GMT or the Grandmasters tournament, and the Biel Chess Festival, it started last Saturday with the Chess 960 tournament. It was won by Kirill Alexeyenko, the Russian Grandmaster. Then on Sunday we had Rapid tournament. The 8 invited players played between each other round robin tournament, and it was won quite confidently by Gadakamsky with 5.5 points out of 7, although he suffered a loss in the final round. So today, after a rest day, the 8 warriors, they have started to play the first round of the classical tournament. The games are already well underway, so we are going to tune in at something like, how much time is it? 2.5 hours into the games and see what is happening. There is a slight chance that one of the games might finish actually quite soon. Let's have a look what is happening right now. So this is the current position between Gadakamsky and Noah Studer. Kamsky clearly got an upper hand in the opening phase and was able to achieve a winning position. So Noel has been struggling. He's been struggling so far very, very hard. He had a really disastrous Chess 960 tournament. He started 5 losses out of 5. Then he got 2 victories in a row, which should boost his morale because in the 6th round he beat Sarin Nihal. In the 7th, Boris Gelfand with the black pieces. But the disastrous continuation continued in the Rapid tournament as well, and he scored only 1.5 points out of 7. Clearly, Noel appears to be not in the best shape, and this game, it's not really looking good for him. But before I'm gonna explain how we got here, let me maybe show you the actual pairings for the very first round. So today, the 8 invited players, 8 grandmasters, are playing the very first round of the classical tournament. Again, the tournament format is that this is a grandmaster triathlon. So that means there is not only a classical tournament, there is a rapid tournament, there's a blitz tournament, and all that matters is the total score. So let's check the current standings after the Rapid tournament. As you can see, Gadakamsky is leading the tournament with 11 points because in every Rapid game, each victory would be counted by 2 points, every draw 1 point, but in classical games, every point is counted as 4 and every draw is 1.5 points. Thus, I think this is a great motivation for the players try to fight for the win. So they're going to play a round robin tournament of 7 rounds, and then there's also going to be a double round blitz tournament. Every single opponent is going to play against each other twice, and this blitz tournament is going to be held this Saturday. In the meantime, I also want to mention that in the parallel we have some other really exciting tournaments in Biel. It's the Biel's MTO Open Tournament. A lot of very strong players are playing there. Grandmasters about 2650 level. And I guess we are going to tune in and see what is happening at the decisive board somewhere at the later stages of the Open Tournament. Now, instead, we are going to focus what is happening in the main event, which is the Grandmasters Triathlon. So let's see how they actually got to get here. So this position appears to be strategically winning. He has the extra pawn, he has bare pawn structure, and the black king appears to be not really well positioned on h5. So how did this happen? Now, Gata played e4, and I think this is actually a slight surprise. I mean, he has played his fair share of e4 in his repertoire, but he is usually playing something else. And now after c5, knight f3, knight c6, usually Noel is playing the so-called Sicilian Sveshnikov. After d4, c takes knight e4, knight f6, knight c3, e5, knight b5, d6. So this is one of the pet lines of Noel. So he is actually playing this line in the rapid tournament. Now let me go back. So that's why I think this was quite smart from the American Grandmaster to start with knight c3. And knight c3 usually is like, I don't want to have any business with the Sicilian Sveshnikov. And why is that? Because black simply cannot get there anymore. So check this out. For example, let's say what happens if black plays knight f6, seemingly inviting, okay, you can play d4, c takes knight e4, d5, and we go to the same Sicilian Sveshnikov, but it's not really so simple because white can play some sort of a Sicilian Rossolino after bishop b5, threatening at some point to play bishop takes on c6 and then get a very nice positional game. So for example, if black now decides to play knight d4, inviting to trade on d4 and bothering the knight on c3. Now this trick has already been well known because white can respond with d5, and after knight takes on b5, I mean you have to do it, knight g4, knight e4, black simply loses the knight on g4. So after knight b5, knight b5, knight e5, black might appear to be sort of okay because he wants to play knight c7, trade away this dreaded knight on b5, and then play something like d6 or maybe b6, bishop b7, and bring his light square bishop into the game. But there's one little problem with the plan. Now there is knight g5. And knight g5 comes with a threat to play either queen h5 or queen f3, bothering the knight on d5 and the pawn on f7. So if black plays e6, attacking this knight here, now suddenly after knight e4, knight e6, now this is a huge problem for black. So that's the reason, that is the reason why really tricky players against Sicilian Sveshnikov, they're starting with knight c3 so that after knight f6 he is not obliged to play d4. And of course I think Gata knows that Noel is a hard worker and he knows his theory quite well, so why should he go and test his opponent's knowledge in a very topical line? So the biggest drawback, of course, of this knight c3 is that it allows to play e5, and this is the main move in the position. So black stops any white's intentions to play d4. Maybe I'll just mention that it's not really mandatory, of course. Black is not obliged to play e5, but if he plays something like e6 or d6, what you have to understand is that every single opponent has his own repertoire. So I think Noel's main weapon with black is the Sicilian Sveshnikov. Thus, Kamsky plays knight c3, and he knows that black is not going to play some kind of a Taimanov right after e6, d4, c takes knight e4, because this is simply what black doesn't play in this position. Or, for example, some kind of a dragon with g6. Again, it's completely possible, but the question is, do you play it yourself with black? Noel played e5, and this was already expected by Kamsky, so he played bishop c4. And this is a very typical theory here, d6, d3, and the main move here is to play bishop e7. Actually, I think even bishop e7 is possible before black plays d6. Now, for example, black usually plays something like bishop e7. White is trying to reroute the knight to d5 as quickly as possible to secure this very nice outpost on d5. And then after knight e2, I think one of the main ideas here was either bishop g5, trade it on c1, and then play something like knight e7, short castle, maybe bishop e6, and sort of have a good position. Sorry about that. Let me go back again. Yeah, chess.com board seems to be refreshing all the time. And the other idea after bishop e7, knight e2 is to play knight f6. And if white continues to play knight f1, there's this bishop g4, provoking white to play f3, and then bishop e6, knight e3. And because the pawn stands on f3, now black can play knight h5. I think knight h5 was one of the main moves in the position. So that is the theoretical explanation why all of this happened. But I checked the database, and apparently Gata had done this himself before the game as well. Noel had played twice this move h6, and it's not the main move in the position. Now Gata continued with his main plan, knight e2. Now black's idea is not to position the bishop on e7, but on g7 instead. So now after knight f1, bishop g7, knight e3, knight f6. Here Kamsky played a very nice move, h4. Now h4 comes with the idea perhaps to push h5, or maybe think about playing g4, g5. And what is the interesting thing is that Studer had this before. And this is definitely what Kamsky knew. He was taking this into account when he was preparing for the game. Apparently, Studer had already played this game in an insignificant online tournament, but still, this is information for his very experienced opponent, and I think it was quite a brave decision from the Swiss player's part to repeat the same line in a classical tournament. Now, the point of h4, like I said, white is threatening to play g4, g5, maybe even h5. Some ideas to sacrifice perhaps the exchange. Let's say something like a short castle. I'm not even sure. Should it be even g4? Maybe h5 might be a possibility. Go for some sacrifices. Maybe the rook can be sacrificed, or maybe just play for some development after, let's say, knight f5 and go for a big attack. But let's say if black decides to stop this idea and plays h5 himself, now this weakens the g5 square. Now white can play knight d5, and now this threat of bishop g5 suddenly becomes quite an annoyance. So I guess let's say something like knight e5, knight takes on d5, short castle, bishop g5. I think white is simply going to castle long, and after f3, g4, there's going to be a big attack thanks to black's made weaknesses on h5. So that is why here, after h4 was played, Studer tried to improvise over the board. I think he was slightly not ready for this because, like I already mentioned, Kamsky normally doesn't play this, and when you are preparing for a game, you have some sort of an expectation what to expect from the game, and you're trying to model the game as far as you can. So that is your homework. So every single chess professional, I think so, at least I think so, at least I'm doing it myself, and I imagine Studer and Kamsky are doing it even more. They're spending time to prepare for the games. So they're sitting at the combs, opening probably chess space and checking what their opponents are going to play, what they have played before, and try to model the game in the potential direction, and at home try to understand if they like what they see. So this was part of Kamsky's preparation, and that's why answering a question in the chat, how it comes that there's such a huge time difference on the clock, that's preparation. Kamsky clearly was ready for this position, and for Studer, this was a surprise. Now, after rook b8, bishop d2 is a very, very cool move by Kamsky because white is still not sure where he's going to position the bishop. Maybe at some point it's going to be useful at this diagonal, not revealing the cards. For example, let's say knight e4, a4, and let's say black plays a6. seeking some counterplay with b5. Now white can play a5. Now if black is gonna push it, now white is simply gonna take en passant and establishing not only a weakness on a6 but also a great outpost on c4. So if black goes back to bother the pawn on a5, now white can play knight e5, and you'll start to appreciate the reason why white did include bishop d2 in the first place. Yeah, so bishop d2 is really smart move. Now after a4, short castle was played by the Swiss grandmaster. Now knight e5. I'm not sure about this knight e4 move, to be honest. But now after knight e4, white wants to play c3, push away the knight from the e4 square. And after knight e5, bishop takes on d5. I think black already is sort of in a trouble here, because it's not really clear what exactly black is going to do against this quite annoying positional threat h5. So let's imagine, yeah, this is actually exactly what happened in the game. Let's imagine black does something random. I don't know. For example, bishop e6, seemingly normal developing move. Now, white plays h5, and his intentions is to take on g6, establish some weaknesses to bother at the king's side, and go after the black king. And if black plays g5, trying to close the position, for example, after c3, pushing away the knight, knight c6, and something like queen f3, I imagine white already is taking a good care of the weakened squares around the black king. Maybe even something like g4 might be a possibility at some point later, and black is clearly suffering because of the weaknesses of the light squares, but also the dark square bishop is really a terrible piece. So now you know why here Noel played king h8, and his idea was to meet h5 with f5, seeking some kind of a counterplay here from black's perspective. Now, of course, nobody wants to sit into a passive defense. All of us, we are trained that you should be answering some kind of positional pull with a counter strike, and you don't want to see your position to be deteriorating slowly but quite surely to the wrong direction. And now after f5, Kamsky played c3. And the point is, now this knight is pushed back and black is in huge trouble. It's not even clear what he should do here. So for example, let's say he decides to go back. Now white simply takes the pawn on g6, and there is this huge attack incoming on the h6 square, maybe something like f4, and I don't know, maybe queen h5. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sacrifice the piece. But now bishop takes on h6, maybe even long castle first and bishop h6. This position spells doom for black. So the entire idea to counter-strike for black sort of backfired. And after c3, now Studer decided to include f4, knight c4. Now the pawn on g6 is still under attack, and maybe knight c6 had to be played. But Studer played queen g5 anyway, sort of counter-attacking the pawn on g2, and after king f1, his position is in scrambles. The knight on d4 is under attack, and now the pawn on d6 is under attack as well. So he played knight e6, trying to complicate matters, and after knight takes on d6, not only white has the extra pawn, he simply has the better position. So it's very difficult even to pinpoint where exactly Studer went wrong. I think it was perhaps not a great choice in the opening phase. He played a line which he had already played before, and his opponent had time to prepare against this. Then one inaccuracy combined by another decision to counter-strike back, this led to a terrible position for black, and right now Studer is simply in a lost position. So let's go see how this game continued. After bishop d7, h takes, queen takes, and queen h5, and that's it. And white already is quite happy to trade queens because he has the extra pawn. The knights on d6 and bishop d5 are really monstrous pieces for white. So here, after queen takes, a rook takes, knight c7. Now this was played by Studer, probably with an idea to play some tricks. For example, bishop takes on b7 is not a good idea, because now after rook f6, this knight on d6 has to go away, and the bishop on b7 is lost. But obviously Kamsky didn't fall into this idea. He played a very cool c4 with intentions to recapture on d5 with probably the pawn and freeing the e4 square for his knight. So that's why Studer played king h7, bishop c3. The pawn on e5 is a huge weakness. And after king g6, I think already here there was more than one possibility to play this out. And you see, Studer resigns. Studer resigns. Now that was rather quick, but let me show you maybe very quickly, and maybe we'll be able to catch Gata for an interview. So after bishop c3, king g6, Kamsky decided to sacrifice an exchange, going for a piece activity. So naturally, black doesn't want to take here because white is simply up to pawns. King h5, bishop g7. Now white is even looking for ways to checkmate the black king. So after knight e5, bishop f8, knight b4, bishop g7, knight e3. So this was the position where we started our broadcast, when Studer was having these terrible positions right after the opening, and now after the simple king e2, knight b4, bishop e5, white is combining his pressure on the weaknesses on f4 and going after the mate. So rook f8 was played, a5. Now the pawn on b7 is a weakness as well, and fast forwarding this game, Studer tried to call this, but not only he's down a pawn, he has two weaknesses on b7 and 4, and slowly but gradually Kamsky grinded this down to a victory, because now after knight c8, the pawn on a7 is lost. And let's say if black tries to play something like rook f7, rook d1, rook d6 are huge threats. Yeah, so I guess we are gonna see an interview. Let me double check it. All right. So let me double check it if the interview is gonna start in a moment. Yeah. All right. So the interview is gonna start very soon. Let me wait for the moment it's gonna start. I'm still not getting the feed. So that was really impressive victory by Gata Kamsky. He did win the rapid tournament, and played a really powerful game today. But I mean, I think also Noel himself, he played rather bad game today. Let me see. So maybe while we are waiting for the interview, I'm gonna switch over to another game and let's see what is happening.
We are with Gata Kamsky. Congratulations on your victory against Neil Studer.
Thank you.
And would you like to share some highlights of the game?
Well, he played this game before, but then I have no idea. You know, instead of 93 here, at the bishop g7, h4 here is also possible, because if you play h4, knight f6, there is this h5 thing. And if black takes, then is pretty strong initiative. But I was, then of course, in all these cases after h5, black should play actually g5. And I think it's not that much. So, but I was trying, I had also another plan in my mind, which didn't involve h4, and that was 93, but then I confused them, because, you know, and after h4 I realized, you know, what am I doing? I'm confusing these plans. But then, luckily for me, he started thinking for a very long time. He plays rook b8. Well, I understand the move. The idea is black wants to play knight d4, b5. So bishop d2, knight d4, a4. And probably at this point he was thinking already about this sacrifice. So take, bishop d5, king h8, h5. I think he should just play g5 here, actually. And then, of course, white plays g4. The bishop is really bad, but, you know, it's very small advantage for white. Because after f5, I think it's becoming very forced.
So you think this was his first mistake?
Yeah, I think after f5 this is unpleasant, because he is, if his tactics doesn't work, then strategically, you know, his structure is really bad. So, and I had to find this knight c4 solution, which I thought was very nice, and king f1. And after this, black is just much worse, because he's losing the pawn on d6. And this is, I think, is already a very bad position, and I had to find some accurate moves here. But obviously, after knight c7, extra pawn, bad structure for black. Then, of course, you know, I started going for tactics instead of just playing bishop c4, f3. But I was taken with this idea of sacrificing in the exchange, but then I realized why sacrifice in the exchange, because I actually get it back. So after 93, 92, knight b4, just a5, you know, I realized, you know, I was spoiling a lot of winning positions, so I had to play very solid. So, solid chess today for me. No fan, no tricks.
No, sorry, I'm missing the video
Maybe we
feed.
have some questions now from the Arthurs.
Okay, we heard you, but the video is missing
Where
for
are
some
they?
reason. Yeah.
Mine? Okay.
Just a second. Okay, so we don't really have any questions. So good luck to you tomorrow for the second round. And
Okay, thank you. Excellent.
considering your win yesterday, it is very good start for you.
Before yesterday.
Yes,
Yesterday I had the rest
before
day.
yesterday, yes,
It was
yesterday.
important to have this rest day,
Yes.
you know. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, good luck.
All right. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. You heard Gata. Obviously, he told you about the game that. Unfortunately, the video was missing for some reason. I couldn't show it to you. But he also felt that this f5 maybe was not the greatest choice for black. The position already was not really great. He tried to play solid chess, and yeah, ultimately scored a really important victory. So that means that Gata scores 4 points in the overall rankings. Because again, let me remind you, in every victory in the classical tournament gives you 4 points. Every draw is 1.5 points. Thus, every participant is interested to score as many victories as you can, right? If there's a choice to score 2 draws or score a victory or loss, obviously the victory is more important. Yeah, that being said, I hope that for the next interview we are gonna fix the feed. Yeah, sorry about that. Not sure what happened there, but at least you heard a man. You heard a man. Gata appeared to be in better spirits than after the rapid section. He was slightly upset. Obviously, I mean, I could understand it, because he had this great start with 5 points out of 5. If he finished 5.5 points out of 7, this loss after an excellent opening in the last round. But okay, I mean, this happens. So this means that Kamsky is back. He's playing great chess. and he's here to win the tournament. So let me perhaps switch to another game. Yeah, there was a request to check Boris's Nicolas game. Just a second, let me check very quickly what is happening there. So this particular position between Maxime Lagarde and Winston Kiemer seems to be about equalish. I'm not sure what to say. Yeah, okay, so let's maybe switch to the game of... Oh, there's a big crazy position. Yeah, so maybe let's switch to the game Boris Gelfand against Alain Pichot. Let me find where they are. Here we go. And also I'm gonna change small screen. So there's some total mess going on, and let's see what happened here. So time-wise, the opponents are still having a lot of time. For Gelfand, it's 34 minutes. For Alain Pichot, it's slightly less than 20. Yeah, so they play the Catalan. And so both opponents, they have played this line. They're quite happy. They're quite happy to venture into this line. So this was a theoretical struggle. A6, A4 is one of the topical lines. I mean, there's naturally many possibilities. Black is not obliged to take on C4. He can play the close position with C6, knight E7. This leads to a big struggle. D takes on C4 is one of the main moves in the position. Queen C2 is the main move. White is willing to recapture the pawn on C4. A6. Now A6 again is big theory here, and usually the idea here is that, let's say, if white takes the pawn on C4, queen takes on C4, there is a move B5. Right, so here after B5, queen C2, bishop B7. Now this is the typical problem in the Catalan. Black tries to develop his bishop to B7, and then maybe something like knight E7, C5, trade away the pawn on C7 for the pawn on D5, and claim an okay game. So that is the reason why usually white, if he is really ambitious, he includes A4. So that B5 now is impossible, because after B5, A takes on B5, black cannot capture, the rook on A8 is under attack. Now, here the main move is considered to be bishop D7, with the point that after queen takes on C4, bishop C6, black plays something like knight E7, or maybe A5, knight A6, and this is a big struggle. Now instead here, Pichot played C5, and C5 has become the trendy move in this position. Now the point is that after D takes on C5, bishop takes on C5, black and white's to play queen takes on C4, then again solving the problem of the so-called Catalan bishop. I mean, technically white is having this Catalan bishop, but this light square bishop's development usually is the biggest issue for black. Now after b6, bishop b7, for example, something like knight e5, rook a7, black will be just in time to play bishop b7. Although white appears to be slightly pressing. If black manages to trade the light square bishops on b7, he should be more or less okay. So that's why knight bd2 is the move here, which is gaining some popularity. And the idea is to recapture on c4 with a knight and fight for some dark square weaknesses. And here's this amazing move b5. Now after b5, white has no choice but to take on b5 and rook. I'm sorry, yeah, not take on b5. Yeah, it's knight g5. Why is that? Because after a takes on b5, there is, I think it was bishop b7. And after bishop b7, suddenly black has a very good development. So For example, queen takes on c4 is impossible. That's a double attack on the queen, and the rook in a1 is under attack. So you cannot do that. And if white tries to play something like knight takes on c4, a takes on b5, rook a8, bishop a8, black is just very happy with the position. Let's say white decides to keep a pawn. Plays b takes on a6, knight takes on a6, and plays something like knight takes on c4. Now black is very active. He's very active, and I have a feeling that this pawn on b2 doesn't really play such a huge role because black's pieces are sort of dominating the board. So that is the reason why here after knight bd2, b5, knight g5 is being tested right now, and this is the hot topic of this position. After knight g5, rook a7, knight e4, white is not only attacking the bishop on c5, but also threatening to play knight f6 and queen h7 mate. So black doesn't have any choice but to play knight takes on e4, knight takes on e4, and here bishop d4. And recently, I'm not sure if you're following the World Cup of women, this also was one of the topical games between one of the strongest female players in the world, Alexandra Goryachkina, against Olga Badelka. I think they played in round 3. But this also has been played before at a very high level. Some high-level GMs have played this. And white is sacrificing the pawn for some long-term ideas against the black king. So here, Gelfand played knight g5. All of this has been played before. The point is, obviously, white is threatened with a mate on h7. This forces white to make some weaknesses. And after a takes, rook takes, bishop takes, black appears to be slightly suffering because this dark square bishop should have been on g7 and not on a7, and that's why black is experiencing some issues with the king's safety despite the fact that he has the extra pawn. Now knight e4, all of this was played before, and here followed, to my knowledge, this was the actual novelty. I mean, sooner or later somebody plays a novelty because theory is moving on, and somebody always finds a new idea at some point. And here, bishop g5 was played by Gelfand, and after queen b6, a stunning idea, rook a1. Now the idea is that white is threatening to play bishop e3, and let's say if black takes the knight sort of for free, there is bishop e3. Now the black queen has to retreat, and after something like rook a7 or bishop a7, I'm not sure which is even the best, white probably wins back the pawn on e4 with some positional benefits. So that's why probably it's not such a great idea. So let's check what actually happened there. So this was the moment when I last checked it. Black found the only move, knight a6, which makes the position really, really complex. Knight f6 was played by Gelfand, king g7, and now rook d1. So I'm not really sure what to make of this position, because the knight on f6 is under attack. Queen takes on f2 also is a possibility. So let's check what happens, for example, if black would play rook takes on f6. I guess queen c3, attacking the rook on f6. So this forces for black to play the only move e5, and then something like queen takes on e5, followed by, at the right time, bishop f6, maybe queen b5, and at least, white is not worse, because black's light pieces appear to be slightly not well positioned at the queen side, and the king is feeling really weak. So I guess the same idea applies for queen takes on f2 check as well. I mean, the pawn is nice to have, but the black king is weak. And again, rook f6 is going to be queen c3, and rook on f6 is under attack. So for example, yeah, it's not really clear what to recommend here for black, because queen c3 is still incoming with some double check ideas. Let's say queen c3, knight e8, queen g7. Let's say black plays something like h6, queen c3, h takes, and this should be a mate. Knight e8 check. Yeah, where do you go? King f7, queen f6 here, and mate on the board. So this just shows one of the tactical possibilities of this position, and all of this didn't happen. So instead, here, black played e5. After e5, knight e5 was played by Gelfand. I'm not sure, maybe bishop e3 was the way to go. It's very difficult to tell. Bishop e3, queen f6, and bishop a7, and white has the two bishops. Black still enjoys the extra pawn, but I have a feeling that because of this weakened king, black is never really risking to play this for the win. White should be able to recapture the pawn at a queenside at some point, and this should lead to some kind of logical draw. Probably. But Gelfand played knight e5. He sacrificed the pawn on f2, and after queen takes on f2 check, king h1. Now white is threatening at some point to bother the queen. Not really sure exactly how. I guess something like maybe bishop e3 and rook f1 is the first idea which comes to my mind, forcing black to take on e3, and then with the rook f1 capture the queen, although black can sacrifice as well for quite a lot of material. Either way, f4 was played in the game by the Argentine grandmaster, bringing more pieces into the game and going for some kind of a counterattack. After g takes, bishop f5, queen c3. Now white is threatened to play queen takes on e5, and after bishop d4, now this appears to be a huge mess. Now the engine says, apparently queen d2 is the best move here. I mean, I'll tell you honestly, it's not very obvious to me why exactly it should be queen d2. I guess keeping the position sort of together, and materially wise, white is still down a pawn. But Gelfand played this human move queen a3, which I can relate to, because it attacks the knight on a6, it's threatening with queen e7 check. But now after knight c5, black solves both problems. So queen e7 no longer is threatening, the knight on a6 no longer is under attack, and now after e3, I guess white's idea was still to play rook f1. I think Gelfand simply missed this move bishop h3. Bishop takes on h3, queen f3 check. Now the rook on d1 is under attack, and I think this is the final position after king g1. So black is simply winning. Now, for example, I believe they're still playing this. Queen takes on d1. What do you play here? I don't know, bishop f1. Even if the bishop on d4 is going to be lost, black has a very powerful attack. The queen and the rook are bothering the white king. Right. So, quite unexpectedly, I would have to say, Gelfand appears to be going down with the white color. So, we can only assume that here after f4, g takes, bishop f5, queen c3, bishop d4, queen a3, that after knight c5, this is a losing move. Yeah, e3 appears to be a losing move, so Gelfand simply miscalculated. I think his idea was that bishop takes on b2, there's going to be queen takes on c5. This bishop has nowhere to go. If there's going to be some bishop g4, there's going to be rook f1, but he simply missed this very nice shot, bishop h3. And that's it. It just takes one blunder and that's it, you're done. I mean, instead, I don't know what to recommend here for white if he doesn't play e3. I guess just go back with everything, because black already has, how many pawns is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still an extra pawn. And black appears to be attacking. There's some bishop e4 ideas, for example. There's this queen takes on e2 threat. The pawn on b2 is weak. So queen a3 is where Gelfand's troubles started. So he should have played, well, yeah, after bishop d4, the engine say queen d2 apparently. I guess with the idea to play rook f1. I'm not really sure. The position is incredibly sharp. So for example, let's say if black plays, should it play really? Yeah, because rook f1 indeed is a big problem. Yeah, rook f1 wins the queen. And if something like knight c5 with knight e4 ideas, now rook f1 is going to be some crazy knight e4. Oh my goodness, what is this? Oh, this is so beautiful. Check this out. Let's say if white decides to go away with the queen, something like queen d1, the question is, do you see mate in 2 here? I mean, we are supposed to solve puzzles at Puzzle Rush or Puzzle Storm. So this is what we call the smothered mate. Queen g1 check, a knight f2 mate. Well, isn't this beautiful really, right? So this knight c5, knight e4 is a crazy idea. Let's say if white takes on f2, now knight x on d2 is good, but black can first take on f2 check here and now go back and the queen is lost anyway. Wow, what a crazy idea here. So here, after, let's say, if white to play queen d2, knight c5, still the position is very messy. Rook f1 appears to be losing because of knight e4, but f takes on e5 probably has to be played. And let me tell you honestly, from afar, to evaluate this, to understand what is happening here, it's simply impossible. Let even to evaluate the position. Right. All right, so this is the current, no, wait, this is not the current position. The current position is that Gelfand blundered. He played queen a3 with the wrong idea. After knight c5, he tried to capture the bishop on d4, but he blundered bishop h3. That's it, check here, takes here, queen g4 check. Black simply continues powerful attack. I think the next move is going to be something like e takes on f4, and white has no time to take on d4. Right, let's check other games. This is definitely an exciting game, but I have a feeling that it should end quite quickly with a victory for the Argentine Grandmaster. And maybe let's see what is happening in the game between Kirill Alexeyenko against Sarin Mikhal. Let me find them. Here they are. There we go. So I would actually rank both Alexeyenko and Mikhal against one of the among the favorites of the entire tournament. Mikhal, he had a rather disappointing Chess 960 tournament, which was held last Saturday. In the Rapid tournament, he got the second place by outplaying his direct competitor Maxime Lagarde in the final round, although I think it was Lagarde who slightly helped him by mixing up the opening moves in the opening phase, and then he was suffering for the entire game. Either way, Sarin had really good Rapid tournaments, so this means he is going to fight for one of the top prizes in the triathlon. Again, let me remind you, the triathlon tournament is 3 tournaments combined. It's the classical tournament, 7 rounds of 8 players playing against each other. Every victory scores 4 points for the winner. Every draw gives every player 1.5 points. Every loss, obviously, 0 points. In Rapid tournament, victory is 2 points. Draw is 1 point. In the Blitz tournament, every victory is just 1 point, and every draw is, as usual, half a point. So that's as you can see, every victory in classical tournament, it's really important. Thus, you're not gonna see any quick draws here, definitely. So now we are following the game between Kirill Alexeyenko And let's have a look at, maybe I'm gonna switch it here as well, so that you're not missing any action. Both players, oh wait, Nicole appears to be slightly in time trouble. Which move is it? 15 moves. Yeah, 15 moves. So I'll try to explain very quickly. I hope I'm not gonna miss any action. So let's see what was happening here. Alexienko, as already mentioned in one of the previous broadcasts, he has done incredible work while preparing for the FIDE Candidates tournament. And while maybe the tournament itself for the young Russian Grandmaster wasn't really a great success, he did play decently the first half. In the second half, maybe he was wishing for better results. Either way, he had input really serious work into the preparation, and sooner or later you're gonna see this happening. And Alexienko is really good at Ryan Lopez, so it's not really a surprise that he plays Ryan Lopez today. Bishop a4, knight f6, short castle. But this is a surprise, because Nicolas Sarin doesn't play bishop c5. At least he had, according to my knowledge, I checked the database, he had never played before. And I can only wonder if this has something to do with another chessable course by another Indian GM. I'm not sure, because in the Rapid tournament, Nikhil was playing the first move b3, sort of honoring Adeban Bhaskaran's chessable course. And he played, I think, yeah, my memory is a little vague, but I think he played pretty much every single game, and even tweeted about it. That first move b3 is the way to go. But with Black's perspective, as far as I know, another Indian Grandmaster, Setu Ramanik, has written a complete repertoire for Black e4, e5. And you know, I have a suspicion, I haven't checked it, I think bishop c5 is in it. So I wouldn't be really surprised. Let me double check it. Right, so the point is here that white cannot really take bishop takes on c6. After d takes, knight takes on e5, knight takes on e4. Now usually this is quite scary, because the knight appears to be on the same open file as the king, because the king still stands at the center. But rook e1 is impossible because of bishop takes on f2 check, and queen e2 allows Black to play queen d5, protecting the knight on e4, attacking the knight on e5, and then just play short castle with a very healthy position. So that's why bishop takes on c6 is not really a great idea. Now, prior to the game, Alexienko had twice played bishop takes on c6 and d3 in this position. So I imagine this was part of Sarin's preparation before the game. Now here, this time, Alexienko went for the main continuation, which probably was expected by the young Indian player. Again, knight takes on e4 is extremely risky because of various d4 rook e1 ideas. So that's why short castle. Again, bishop takes on c6 is not really great, because now after d takes, knight e5, Black simply collects the pawn on e4. After c3, short castle, d4. Now here followed a very nice trick of the variation. Black played bishop a7, seemingly sacrificing the pawn on e5, but it's not really so simple, because let's say if white takes it here, Black can play knight takes on e4, recapturing back and threatening to play d5 and having a nice pressure against the pawn on f2. Let's say if white tries to play queen d5, attacking the knight on e4 and not allowing Black to play d5. After knight c5, Black attacks the bishop, bishop c2, knight e7. I think the main move was queen e1, d5, and Black is simply fine. So this is sort of the theory of this position. So that's why Alexienko didn't take it on e5, and he played bishop g5. Now, d-takes on e5 already is a threat, and any e-takes on d4, e5, this is something probably you don't want to do at home. Because this knight is pinned, it cannot go back, because the queen on d8 is under attack. h6 has to be played, and after bishop h4, here, Sarin slightly, I guess, surprised his opponent, because he played d6. Now, the main move in this position is to play e takes on d4. And the idea is that after e5, there is g5 with some crazy complications. And I think the main move here was, I don't remember. I didn't check it. I don't remember what was the main move. I think it was not, I think it was rook e1. Yeah, rook e1, there is some high-level games here in this position. So this is top-notch theory in this one of the Ryle Lopez's lines. And anyway, Sarin decided to play d6. And so far, after bishop takes on c6, b takes on c6, the players were following a game between Maxime Vachier-Lagrave against Jordan Van Forest from the 2021 Tata Steel Chess Tournament. Do you remember it? The tournament where the young Dutch GM surprisingly won the tournament ahead of the world champion Magnus Carlsen and everybody else. Exactly the same tournament. And here the idea was, in the game, MVL played d takes on e5, d takes on e5, and knight takes on e5. And here, after queen e7, knight takes on c6. Now this was played in the game. After queen takes on e4, knight takes on a7. Nice idea, because queen h4, knight c8, white keeps the pawn. And at this moment, the Dutch GM unleashed this shocker. He played bishop, I think it was here. Yeah, bishop h3. With the idea that after g takes on h3, rook d8, the white queen has no access to any f2, f2, e2, f3, and g4 squares. And let's say something like queen goes away, queen h4, rook d5, queen h3, suddenly it's black who is checkmating white. I mean, there's some kind of a draw, but MVL played here knight e2. And after queen h4, black took over the game, but the game finished in a draw. So really, really crazy line. So that being said, these players, they know this. This is pretty much the most famous predecessor. Again, here we go, predecessor in this line. Alexienko is such a big theoretician in this line, obviously. He knows this game, and the both players definitely had improvements prepared. So Alexienko played the normal move, knight e2. Knight e2, rook e8, and simple rook e1, keeping a healthy pawn structure and trying to somehow get to these weaknesses, because black has the long-term advantage of having the two bishops, but he has the weak pawns. So here, Sarin played rook e6. Now this appeared to be a slightly strange move to me. I was more expecting something like e takes on d4 and try to activate the bishops, but this would essentially give up the pawn center for white. Now rook e6 was played. Maybe the idea was to push away the queen. Queen e8. Now threatening to play e takes on d4, attacking the pawn on e4, and this made perfect sense for the Russian grandmaster to play d takes on e5, because after d takes on e5, d takes on e5, the last black's moves, they simply don't make a lot of sense, right? The queen and the rook is standing on the e-file, which is essentially closed. So bishop takes on f6 was played. I guess the bishop on h4 is not doing anything, and thus we have a classical struggle. It's two knights versus two bishops. So the question is, which is stronger? So these were the last moves. Knight c4, rook d1, all of these moves make perfect sense. h3, so that there's no bishop g4, f6, queen a4, bishop e6. And black appears to be sort of slightly suffering. Let me go back maybe to the actual position. This is the actual position. And Nikhil appears to be in slight time trouble. Not sure if it really qualifies because he has still 5 minutes on the clock, and being such a very fast player, I don't think he's really concerned. And this is move 27, so that's actually quite a lot. So he still needs to make 13 moves in 5 minutes. So the time control, I don't think I mentioned this before, the time control of the classical tournament is 100 minutes. So that's 1 hour and 40 minutes for the first 40 moves. And then there's 50 minutes for the next 20 moves. And 15 minutes until the rest of the game, plus extra 30 seconds for every single made move. So these games, essentially, they could take forever. Indeed, I mean, something like 6 hours. So if they start something like 2 p.m. Central European summertime until something like 8 p.m. summertime, definitely they can go as long. There's a question in the chat. When does the classical part of the event start? This is the classical event. This is the classical games. It's not the rapid tournament. You're just seeing the sort of the rapid typical time control, something like 19 minutes against 4 minutes. It means that we are already in the 4th hour of the games. They started at 2 p.m. Central European summertime. And after 40 moves, if all the players will get as far, they will get extra 15 minutes. 50, not 15. So that's actually going to be quite a lot. And right. Yeah, in the meantime, I think another game has finished. Let me double check it. Boris Gelfand has resigned. He has resigned against Alain Pichot, so that was rather terrible blunder. Not sure if there's going to be interview. Let me double check it. Let me ask. Maybe let me double check it if the feed is working. For some reason, it's not today. Okay. All right. So while we wait for it, I hope at least you'll be able to hear it. If not see it. Unfortunately, against Gata, we could only hear it for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, the camera was not turning on. But as you heard, Gata won a really spectacular game against the local Grandmaster Noel Studer, who simply has, I think, disappointing tournament so far. Yeah, so he appears to be struggling. Let me check it. Right, so the interview feed video is still missing, by the way. So, yes, hey, Angelica, the audience cannot hear you, but I'm missing the video, by the way. Can somebody turn it on? Because I cannot show it. There's only the audio. Okay. So the interview is going to start very shortly. A lumpy shot is going to explain you.
Gelfand, congratulations on your victory.
Thank you so much.
And maybe you would like to share something from your game. It was very interesting, and
Yeah, of
it
course.
felt back and forth, of course.
A lot of emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably I didn't with c3 without, I don't know if I,
You can click, yes.
okay.
Sure.
Without d4. I didn't prepare this, but of course it's interesting. And the line was a Catalan. I played this line I prepared for the World Cup. I think it's very interesting, and it's funny because this line with knight bd2, I saw a game for Goryachkina a few days ago in the World Cup, in the Women's World Cup, and she played the same line with needs to play only f5, because if I don't play f5, the and now yeah,
Right,
yes,
yeah.
a lot, of course, and this is the reason for I played e5 and knight d5 here. Another interesting move. I expect bishop e3, probably other move, queen takes f6 and bishop a7. It's interesting. I have an extra pawn, but the white pieces have the bishop pairs. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
probably, yeah, white is better because of the active
Probably,
pieces.
yeah. I expect to play rook d8 probably, and it's interesting. I have an extra pawn, but the bishop pairs looks scary for me. Knight d5, it's interesting. Queen takes f2, king h1, and now it's funny because my queen is trapped because he have some rook f1, for example h6, rook f1, and if I play queen d4 or queen c5, for example, bishop e3 or bishop e7, and the bishop is gone. So that's the problem with h6. This is the reason for f4 now. It's funny because I saw rook f1 here, another interesting move. And first, I think I'm winning with f3 here. It's funny because it takes f3, queen takes c2, and bishop is queen f1. But he had some rook f2, f takes g2. If he take with the rook, rook
Then
f1 and mate. But I think king g1 here it's an amazing move, because if I played bishop f2, king g2, and if I play here,
bishop,
no,
if rook a f8,
rook f2,
bishop e3.
bishop,
Oh,
bishop
sorry.
here, rook takes f2, bishop e3, and I don't see a move for me. Probably rook f1, maybe bishop f5 here. It's interesting. But when he played, she takes f4, queen f.
Just 1 second.
Bishop f5. I have only. And I didn't see the move queen a3. I only saw queen a5 here, and of course queen a3 looks more aggressive. And queen e7, of course. For example, here if I take the pawn here, bishop x6 takes on f7, knight f6, and mate. So here knight c5, and I had some lucky here because when I played knight c5, of course I saw the move e3, but of course bishop h3 is funny. If I don't have that move, I don't know what other move I can play. But
So Boris just missed it. What should have he played here?
I don't know here. I think I have a good position here because if he had check here, I have knight d7 always.
So maybe he should keep the queen, maybe.
Yeah, maybe the queen here, but I don't know other move. F takes e5, for example. F takes e5 is another possibility. Here, knight e4 is impossible because you have always bishop h3. But maybe this move is possible. Bishop e5. Always bishop e3. I have queen h4, but I don't know the position. This position is interesting, of course, but I think e3 is the blunder, and bishop e3 is a very good move. I had some lucky, but of course it's a very good game. I'm very happy.
Yes, pretty sharp game, and
yeah, very sharp for a Catalan.
yeah, of course. So congratulations one more time. Good luck for you tomorrow. Second round. Who are you playing tomorrow?
Against Tudor.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So good luck to you. Thank you very much, and we are getting back to Arthur.
Thank you so much.
All right, you heard it. That was Angelique with the interview. I'm sorry again. There appears to be some issues with the connection, but maybe it's from my end because Angelique she's doing the commentary from the Biel, and I'm sitting here from Riga. Apparently, there's indeed some connection issues, but we are gonna fix that. At least you were able to hear it, and in the worst case, I think you're gonna find these videos for you so that you can rewatch them and hopefully also relay some questions you have that we can ask the winners. As you saw, he also felt that after this queen a3 Gelfand's move was a mistake because after knight c5, Pichot correctly said he had a great position. He probably had. Angelique asked what was a better move. He wasn't really sure. I mean, with the engines, of course, it's easy for me to say. Engine said that queen d2 is the best move, but there was such a big tactical mess that I would just say the better player won, probably. So Argentinian player was more tactically alert, thus he scored the victory. All right. So let's see what we missed. We have still ongoing 2 games. It's Maxime Lagarde against Vincent Kiemer. Maybe I'm gonna put on the small screen Lagarde's game against Kiemer. So there you go. Maxime Lagarde is playing with the white color and Vincent Kiemer is playing with black. I have a feeling that black is slightly pressing there because this h pawn on h4 appears to be slightly problematic. But I guess it's about equal. I don't know. Really difficult to say. So we are following the game of Kirill Alexeyenko against Serena Hall. So they kept this position. It's move 29. So Alexienko has one pawn on a5. So how did this happen? So bishop c5 was played, knight e2, rook a7. Sarin sacrificed the pawn on a5. He could have played something like bishop e6. He decided not to do it. So this is a pawn sacrifice. Rook a7, knight a5, bishop f7. Yeah, the question is why white is not playing the immediate b4? Trying to understand what to make of this. After b4, bishop b6, something like queen takes on c6. Because the idea is that after queen takes, knight takes, white still has the extra pawn. Although these bishops, they're really powerful. After queen c6, maybe bishop a5, take on e8, bishop e8, b takes, rook a5. Ah, yes, and this pawn on a2 is lost. So we have some kind of an equal endgame because there's no way how white can try to protect this pawn just in time. And if white cannot take on c6, then Alexienko plays king g1, and I guess the idea is to avoid any bishop c4 ideas and free the knight. So he wants to play something like knight b3. And with the king on f1, if white play knight b3, he would have to be careful not to miss any bishop c4 pin ideas, pinning the rook on d3. So that's why king g1. But this creates another pin. I'm not sure who is even pressing here, because now the question is, can black play something like queen a8? Queen a8 threatened to play bishop takes on a5, and now, for example, this idea is that white no longer can play queen takes on c6, because after rook takes on a5, the queen on c6 is no longer defended, and black just recaptures with the rook. So I think queen a8 looks really, really good. But Sarin appears to be slightly nervous. As you can see, clock is ticking. Probably he has slightly more time, and he plays c5. I'm not sure what he didn't like after queen a8. I thought that was a very natural move. The move is not yet updating for some reason. Yeah, I saw him playing c5. Let me maybe reload the board. Still not here. So Sarin clearly made the move. c5 is on the board, as you can see in the live feed. Yeah, there's a question in the chat about the score. I think I mentioned this before, is that this is a part of the Grandmaster Triathlon tournament. They're playing 3 rounds, 3 tournaments. One is a classical tournament of 7 rounds, round-robin tournament. Every victory is 4 points. Every draw is 1.5 points. Yeah, so c5 finally appears on the board. And in the rapid tournament, every victory was 2 points and every draw was 1 point. So Sarin still has time. He has something like 1.5 minutes on the clock. It's move 31. But I imagine, being such a fast player, I don't think it's going to be an issue to him. All right. Yeah, now the question is, what should white do here? Because trading the queens, should he do this? Let's say queen takes on e8, bishop takes on e8, bishop takes on a5 is a threat, and something like knight d to c4. C takes, C takes. I don't know. I don't know. You know, I'm looking at this position and I cannot understand how important is this extra pawn for white, because black has those two bishops. For example, the dark square bishop could land on d4. The light square bishop could go something like b5 or g6 or f7. And I have a feeling that it is white who needs to be precise here. And you can see that Alexienko is worried. I don't know. I mean, I have this feeling that he doesn't like it. That he doesn't like it. Yeah, let me maybe check what is in the other game happening. We have this end game where white has the pawn on a5, black has the pawn on h3. I guess something like h2, bishop g2, bishop e6. Don't want to miss that, obviously. Okay, let's follow the game. Maybe I'm gonna try to move the small board. Let's say, I hope you can see it. h2, bishop g2, bishop e6 with the idea to play bishop d5. Who is even playing here for the win? Although white can play f3, of course, and he'll have to if he doesn't want to lose. Something like a6, king c7. Although there might be a7, king b7, and bishop takes on c6. Oh, wow. I think I actually failed to mention one little important fact, is that white has the extra pawn, by the way. Sort of this little thing escaped my attention. So queen e8 has been played. For some reason, it's not updating. Why it's that again? Pretty sure they played already long time ago. Okay, so this is the current position in the game of Alexienko against Sarynikal. C takes on b4 is played. I guess c takes on b4 will be responded as well. This is move 33. So still 7 moves to go. Something like bishop d4 could follow. And maybe next c5. Let's see what the Indian player is going to choose. So bishop d4 indeed he plays, and I think he wants to play c5 next. So normally this position should be some kind of equality. I have a feeling that black's two powerful bishops, they greatly compensate the missing pawn. And with a perfect play, probably black is going to play something like c5. There's going to be trades on b4. Black will give up one of the bishops in order to recapture the pawn. And if there's not going to be any mistakes from other players, this should end with a draw. I saw, by the way, I commented in the chat that this is a dead draw. I'm not sure what you title a dead draw. This is not one of them. It's just equal. Maybe it's an equal position, but I think it's some kind of dynamic equality. Definitely black has a great compensation. All right. In the other game, we have king b4 was just played. Let me see if you can. Maybe actually we should change it. Just a second. Let me double check it, how they're doing in terms of the time. It's actually not really so clear, so this actually could become the big event currently. So both players have something like 5 minutes on the clock. Oh, actually, it's less for black. So on the small screen, I'm gonna turn the Alexienko's game. And white just play king b4. So far, the players have made 36 moves, so not really a time trouble. Although this is, of course, quite an important moment. Bishop c8. I guess a6. Can it be played? If I play a6, h2, a7, h1, queen. Yeah, and this is a draw. This should be a draw. Some kind of perpetual check. Maybe black can even try to press this. Some check. Check. Try to take with the check one of the pawns. But yeah, objectively, this is a draw. So bishop a6. He had this very interesting idea. Maybe he could have tried to play h2. h2, bishop g2, and bishop h3. Something like this. Force the bishop to leave the g2 square. And now, yeah, not sure why he didn't play it. That was so tempting. And now after something like bishop f3, the question is, can you now play bishop e6 with the idea to play bishop d5? So that white no longer has f3, although I guess still bishop g2, bishop d5, and f3. I mean, I don't know. It's so difficult to tell. Maybe bishop f1 to stop this pawn from marching forward. I don't know. After a6, bishop a6 doesn't work. Bishop a6, I'm sorry, yeah, bishop a6 is bishop h3. And white keeps the pawn. White is still pawn up. Yeah, this is something which, by the way, I failed to notice at the start, is that white is simply up a pawn. So in the other game, pawns were traded after c5. The last moves were rook c2, c5, b takes, bishop takes on c5, and those bishops on c5 and b5 really make a majestic impression, don't they now? I don't see black being in trouble here. I think Nikal is looking to take over the game. At least I would be thinking about this. That I can probably trade away my bishop for the knight and win the pawn on a2 at some point. But since this a pawn is not going anywhere, maybe I can try to rely on the bishop power. Let's say position one of the bishops to d4 and something like g5, king g6, etc. Not sure. So Lagarde is thinking. He's thinking right now. Maybe he's trying to understand, is he willing to accept the draw? Although after a6, h2 is not really guaranteed because black could try to play king c7 as well. So he plays f3. f3. And what about h2 now? h2. It's so tempting move here. h2, bishop g2, and something like bishop a6. Is he playing this for the win? I think he needs to be very careful here. This pawn on h2, despite the fact that black is down a pawn. I don't know. I don't know. So let's say something like king c3. Probably a draw. Although, how do you make it? c5, d takes king c5. f4 cannot be played because bishop b5, bishop c6. Now this bishop is going to be pushed away and the h-pawn promotes. King d2, king d4 is some sort of a Zugzwang. You know, actually it's very easy to misplay this position for white. King e1, king e3. The white king doesn't make it here. A bishop f1 is impossible. And any f4 ideas, I guess again, black just plays this. Trades away the bishop and that's it. You're gone. You know, I don't like this. I have a feeling that probably a6 had to be... Again, but what happens after king c7? I mean, it's easy to say, of course. I think white definitely is fighting for the draw here. Something like a7, king b7, king c5, h2, bishop g2, king a7. I would be really concerned. So it's quite unique, right? I mean, despite the fact that white is up a pawn, he's fighting for the draw. But how did this go wrong for the Frenchman? So it was... King b3, h5, king a4, king d6, king a5, king c7. At least visually I'm not seeing any mistakes he did. I mean, all of the moves he did make sense. Although this f3 I'm not sure. f5. So Kimmer's idea is to play f4, imprison the bishop, but the question is, can white now play f4? Oh, but this is such a huge decision. There's going to be bishop e6, bishop d5. How do we make this decision here? Very difficult. Not even to mention, he needs to understand what is happening after king c7. But then again, I mean, what choice does he have? Can he allow f4? So, for example, he plays, let's say it's some random of b3. f4, there's going to be bishop h3 imprisoning this bishop here on h1, and that is a loss. It should be a loss. This bishop is just dead. f5 is a great move. I mean, I'm not sure if that was the best move, but I like it. At least for the time trouble, it asks white some very uncomfortable questions. Are you going to play f4 or not? I mean, f4 easily could be a losing move. Of course, you just calculate it. How do you keep the cool head in such a moment? So he's definitely calculating f4, bishop e6, a6, bishop d5, a7. He's calculating, is there a draw or not? So Lagarde is calculating like mad right now. As you can see, he's not moving, making sure he doesn't miss anything. He appears to be cool. He appears to be not to be nervous. He needs to also understand what happens after a6, king c7. In the meantime, Alexienko just played knight b6. I guess the idea is to reroute the knight to d5. He is willing to give up the pawn on a2, I think. At least I would. To simplify the position and fix the draw. f4 played by the Frenchman. Yeah, I guess there was no choice anyway. So he had to make sure. He had to make sure that it's playable. And Vincent, by the body language, was not happy. He was not happy. Not sure why, really. Let's check why he wasn't happy. I mean, what did he miss? Did he miss something? I mean, it looked like he was unhappy about something. So let's say bishop e6. Can he do this? Bishop e6, a6. Obviously, bishop d5, this is a draw, right? I think white is going to force perpetual check. Check, 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 check. There should be a lot of checks. Just a second again, it's not reloading. So let's say after bishop e6, a6, he plays king c7. Now a6, and bishop takes on c6, and now it's not so easy. King c5, bishop c8. Wait, king c5 is a mistake? And that's winning, right? Bishop b7 is incoming. d5 is impossible. I don't know. Now, maybe he's also calculating king c7. A quiet move, king c7, and maybe get the bishop here. Maybe this is also a possibility. I mean, yeah, I think there's actually two major choices. It's either bishop e6, bishop d5, or bishop a6, bishop d3, bishop e4. You have to make this decision on seconds. And this is... this is move 39. So there is this saying that sometimes you don't want to make such a big decision on the 40th move, but apparently the young player will have to do it. He plays bishop a6, with the idea to play bishop d3 and bishop e4. I like it. At least it stops the a-pawn from advancing forward. So both players still need to make one move. One more move. King c3 has to be played. Bishop d3 cannot be allowed. I don't see any choice. King c3 is played. And now the question is what black is going to do. The 40th move. Is he going to play c5? c5 is very tempting. Trade the pawns and play bishop c6. The infamous 40th move. In the meantime, as you can see, in the other game, Saran is trying to press something at the king side with the bishops. And king c7 was played, you know. I like this move. There's sometimes there's this... maybe let me check if I can switch to the other game. Which move do they have? Yeah, so all the players have made 40 moves. So sometimes there's the saying that so many mistakes are made on the 40th move. Why is that? Because you feel a lot of pressure. And you are seeking ways not to make the big decisions before the next time control. Yeah, there's a request to show the next game. I can try to find the feed. I don't think the players are going to be at the board because they just reached the second time control. Yeah, none of the players are there. I think they can just take a walk for something like half an hour and still not miss anything because it's 50 minutes. 50 minutes, the second time control. And plenty of time to take a rest. I mean, go to have some refreshments and come back refreshed. All right, so let me check here. After king c7, let's say if white tries to play... Wait. How do you deal with this threat now? So bishop c8, bishop e6, and bishop d5. Okay, I'm going to try to make a run for it. King d2. Bishop c4. King e3, bishop d5, king f2. And it would be nice, right? Except of this little problem. black just queens and has a winning position. So the king run doesn't work. Maybe try to block it. Something like, okay, let's test this one first. b4, bishop c8, so the bishop comes here. So d5, probably. Close the diagonal. King d4. How do you activate this bishop here? Yeah, so king d4 is necessary. Why is that? Because b5 is going to be d4 check and bishop b7. That's it. So the extra pawns for white at the queen side, they don't matter at all. So king d4 has to be played. And now we go back. King d5, bishop d5, bishop b7 again. How do you hold this? Something like bishop f3, just sit quietly? You know, I have a feeling this is going to be some kind of a study endgame. I'm not even sure they'll be able to manage it in the given 50 minutes. I mean, very tricky. So for example, let's say I could try to play king c6, allowing white to play bishop d5 only to go back king c7 and then play bishop b7. So you cannot take it, right? So if you cannot take it, what can you do? Something like bishop g2. And if I'm gonna go here, king b5, king b4, let's say here, and maybe this one. How do you stop this? I think white is simply losing, you know? So this last move by Winston was a great move, king c7, not making a big decision because he probably realizes that he can make this decision in the second time control when he has extra 50 minutes to think about this position. How do you play here if you're white? So one of the threats is to play c5, bishop b7, or maybe, I mean, bishop c8, bishop e6. So I guess it will be have to be some kind of a positional pawn sacrifice. Let's say b4, d5, c takes. It's impossible to take it. d4 check is threatening, king d4. Now bishop goes here. Now king c5 is going to be bishop d3, bishop e4. Here, here, and that's it, right? How do you stop this? King c3 maybe. With idea to play bishop a2, king b2, not to allow this idea to happen. I mean, this is going to be... I don't know, what is this? What is this? So... Okay, king c3. And now play this. Bishop e2 is impossible, there's a queen. So bishop goes back. Now you play d4 check and go back. And that's it. I think this is winning. This is just winning. So again, king e3, bishop b7, king f2 takes, king g3, bishop e4. We just collect these pawns. This should be winning. I don't think white is going to be in time to get the king here. Here, here, here. Not in time. Not in time. One tempo is missing actually to make a draw. So again, yeah, so b4 is played. I think Lagardère is losing by force. Let's check if we can see the feed. I think definitely Kimmer knows the idea. He sees the idea. I mean, maybe, okay, not as far as A2, but the idea of bringing the bishop to D5 should be quite obvious to him. Maybe he's also thinking about some bishop F1 ideas. He could include the bishop on F1 and maybe then try to... Yeah, but this is very natural. So for example, D5, again, there's a question to chat, why not bishop D5? Because after bishop B7, black trades the bishop and the H pawn simply promotes. And that's it. Nobody cares that you have the two passed pawns at the queen set. Nobody cares. So bishop C8. I don't see a defense, to be honest. Maybe something like A6, bishop A6, and now run it. But again, you're not in time. Maybe there's some kind of a double sacrifice. D5, C takes and run it for this pawn, but now this pawn is very strong. Now this is just lost, I think. So again, here we go, B4, bishop C8, D5, C takes, king D4. Yeah, this is probably the most difficult move, bishop A6. But I mean, it makes so much sense really to activate the bishop because this spot now is closed. So you simply seek another position. And king c5 allows bishop d3. And if he stands, just play bishop c4. And the bishop goes here. And if the king goes here, now the pawn on d5 is no longer attacked. We play bishop e2, d4, and we go back. And that's it. Yeah, Kimmer is winning. Kimmer is technically winning, I think. The question is, does he see it? I mean, for me, it's easy. Why is that? Because I also didn't find it at the start because I had to shuffle the pieces here and there. But I think he has the feeling it should be winning. And he plays... What did he play? King d6. Okay, that's... I don't think it spoils anything. Because he can go for the same idea now. Although, after bishop f3, how do you activate this bishop here? Still bishop c8. Wait. And if I now run to the pawn, here, or maybe a6 first. a6. Now there's a difference. Wait, it's not very clear. King a7, king a3. You know, I'm not sure about king d6, but it doesn't spoil anything. It doesn't spoil anything. It's just a move, right? I mean, white cannot really play d5. It doesn't spoil anything. Maybe he just played it back to wait for some kind of mistake from his opponent, but and he can always go back king c7. I'm not sure. Oh, this is lost. I have a feeling this is lost for white. Bishop h1 is played. Now, is he going to play bishop c8? Let me maybe check it, what is happening in the other game. Who is playing for the win there? Okay, we are going to check the game very shortly, but There is the check comment. This is level 70 puzzle. You might be right, but they have a lot of time on the clock. And this is, if this is level 70 puzzle, they should be able to solve it in something like 10 minutes. Not 50. You know, I guess we'll see. I mean, it's very tricky. It's very tricky in game, and by no means it's. I'm not even sure if I'm correct. I mean, I think I'm correct that Black is winning. So he plays Bishop B5 with what idea? Oh, he wants to push C5. Wait, what? I don't follow. What's your idea here? C5 is gonna be B takes. So if I wait, where's Vincent's idea here? Where do you want to go? C5 would be a nice idea, right? Bishop C6 wins on the spot. But there's a little difference that White just plays B takes. And there's never going to be Bishop C6 because of D5. So I don't slightly understand it. I don't think Vincent sees the win yet. Yeah, we are going to check the other game shortly. Alexienko is playing against Sarin Nikhal, but this, I'm just trying to understand the move Bishop B5. Maybe it's some Zugzwang idea. Let's say Bishop G2 and this was played. What do you play here? So the king will have to go back, right? So maybe Bishop A4. But where does this bishop go? I mean, I don't follow. How do you get here? Let's say here. Some very smart way, but you still need to reckon with this idea, by the way. Yeah, so I have a feeling that this king on d6 is actually misplaced. It will have to go back to c7. So again, let's go back to the idea. I think it's going to be something like, it should be something like this. Let's say king c7, and the bishop goes here. So king c7 so that the a6 pawn doesn't go anywhere. King d2 is impossible, bishop c4, bishop d5. So I guess it has to be something like d5 and king d4. But you know from afar, maybe Kimmer doesn't want d5 to allow to happen, but then again, white is not really threatening to take the pawn. And now bishop c4, bishop a2, bishop b1, and bishop b4. So the bishop goes back. Kimmer put the bishop on b5, said, okay, nothing is happening. Let's go back. I mean, it's no mistake. It's fine. What? Wait a second. It's a draw? It's a draw. Oh, you know, maybe I'm in a mistake. I mean, I don't know. I had a feeling that this bishop c8, bishop e6, bishop d5. I'm not sure if that is a win. Just a second. Maybe that's not a win. Maybe I guess I missed something. Wait. So what if here he goes king c7 and this plan? What do you do if you're white? So king d2 is impossible. Bishop c4, right? So it has to be d5. I mean, what else do you do here? I mean, if you wait, it's going to be bishop c8. I'm going here. a6, it's king b6. I mean, I can even take it. So d5, c takes, the pawn cannot be taken, there's bishop b7, king d4, I go back. King c5 is going to be bishop d3, bishop b4, king d5 cannot be taken, bishop d5 cannot be taken, and I just play here, here, and here. You know, I think Vincent missed a win. Maybe I'm mistaken. If I'm mistaken, I'm the commentator, right? I think he missed one. Okay, this time at least I'm not gonna miss the interview. Okay, let me check it. Okay, the interview is here. Wow. But I'm surprised. I'm surprised he agreed so quickly. He had something like 50 minutes on the clock. I mean, you can sit on this. But maybe he just didn't believe. And that's another thing. I mean, it's... Okay, I mean... I guess we'll see. I guess I'm wrong. I guess I'm wrong. But I don't see... Do you see, by the way? I don't see. How can White hold this? Because I think we already... found the win. Maybe there's a very supple defense. But I mean, I think it's super, super complicated. I mean, I was able to shuffle the pieces, right? I was able to push them. This d5, king d4, I found on the board, oh, okay, there's bishop c4, bishop a2, bishop b1, bishop b4. I mean, come on, it's a very, very complex, but I had a feeling there should be something. This pawn on h2, I mean, it's... So the interview is going to start a moment. Oh.
In the first round, game against Maxime Lagarde and Vincent Keimer. So, what are your thoughts about the game? Maybe you could analyze it a little bit. Congratulations on your draw.
Okay, I don't know. I think I was completely winning after 95. It looks like completely winning. But then I just played so bad the end game. What what to say? I mean, that was just insane how I played. But okay, managed to defend well. Yeah, I don't know.
So you can actually move the...
Ah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
should we just go to this 95 because I think the opening. Okay, yeah, I mean Queen e7. I somewhat totally missed that he had this King f1 move. So like 95,
Yeah.
I knew it was a
Yeah,
possibility, but
the-
just this King f1 and that this was even like working. Just yeah, somehow I forgot about this. So yeah, okay, I'm not sure it's that horrible, but it certainly looked really
Okay,
bad.
if you don't play 97, I was thinking you can just play like something like knight b6 or a4. But okay, the position is a bit unpleasant for you.
Yeah, sure.
So okay, 97. Okay, that's what I thought. I thought you just forgot king f1.
Yeah, you just King
So after
f1.
95, I'm just winning a pawn basically.
Yes, okay, I have to take on c3. I
Text.
mean,
Okay, everything is forced. Okay, that's the game. Okay,
And
here I was thinking maybe bc6 was slightly better,
yeah, well, okay, I thought this endgame will just always be bad. If I just
but I couldn't find a precise win. How does it work?
One click.
Maybe
It's
it's not
strange
right.
to have this mouse. I don't know. Sorry. I don't know.
Okay, so I was just thinking takes, rook takes, bishop e6,
bishop e6.
then yeah,
Yeah, if you
bishop
take.
c6, bishop h3,
Yeah, king
king
e1.
e1, then you can check.
Queen d2,
Queen d2, rook e2,
king e2.
and queen g4, check. f3, queen e6.
And queen e3.
Hmm?
Queen e3 then.
Queen e3. What do you mean?
Yeah, after queen e6 check. I will go queen e3.
Yeah, queen e3, you have rook b8. That's the point. And I can't take e6 because you have rook b2. Check. And it's not so clear.
Yeah, okay, I'm not sure. Probably this is all
But
not
okay,
even bad.
okay, I just think it's. But I should take with this pawn.
But no, then it's there. I think then I have queen f6, right? Okay.
Okay.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
Queen f6, queen f3.
Yeah, we'll take bishop h3 and bc6. I mean, why? Is
Okay,
this,
yeah, okay.
Should this
No,
be
I
so
don't have a
bad?
pawn up. Okay, so takes. Everything is first. Takes.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it's the thing. Either I lose immediately, or probably it's not even that horrible.
No, but here I have to play check, of course, and bishop e4, no?
Yeah, g6,
G6, king e1, no?
king g7.
Yeah, sorry, it's not working for some reason.
King e7, okay. King g7. Rook e7.
Okay, then I'll just rook a7
Yeah.
also if I want.
So you think it's not winning here?
No, I think it's probably just you played the best you could. I think more probably it's
you
just
think
draw.
so?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know. I, like,
Oh, well, actually,
I
I would
accept
be
the
happy with
position
that.
looks horrible, but
Yeah.
like, okay,
For me,
I didn't find a win.
Just draw. This position looks so bad. But okay, maybe if it's just a draw, I'm
Okay, I'm
quite happy
like
actually.
I know that until h6 it should be fine. Like that's what I know, but like I'm not sure. I think somewhere there was this queen e7 idea.
But
So
even
like,
after that was really interesting actually. Okay, that was a nice defense to play rook e8, rook e7.
yeah, I mean I had some problems because yeah, I mean first of all I of course wanted to play rook c8, bishop h3, but then f5 and rook e5,
Yeah.
and I think this
Yeah.
is okay. Maybe it's not lost. I have rook d8 and okay can carry on, but it certainly is bad.
No, but actually rook c8, maybe I can just play king d2. King
Okay,
f6,
so
rook d7,
And then what next? I
king
mean,
c3.
okay, if I
don't
go
know.
g6 then and threaten king e6, f5.
Yeah, but okay, just keep the rook on the 7th rank. Okay.
Yeah, I mean it's not pleasant. So
Yeah,
I
it's
think
not
like I
pleasant.
was happy like
but
king
okay,
f6.
what you
and
played,
I
I
think
think
this
was
yeah probably
very
the
good.
game is just draw. Yeah. Okay, I'm pretty sure it's draw.
Yeah, you are. Okay, I was thinking it's winning for me, but well,
And this?
maybe.
I'm not
probably
sure
wrong.
at least. Like okay, I think if I go king d6, king b3, king c7, king f4, king b6, b4, I really didn't like this.
Yeah.
So
No, okay, g5 maybe I have to play bishop f3. It's
no,
not-
but this I mean how this is work.
No,
I mean,
that's more
it's king
precise.
d6.
And I just play the
Yeah,
same.
but I have king
d3.
c7 and threaten c5 now, right? I mean, no, I have tempo up here. I'm 2 tempo
Ah.
up actually, even because I don't. I mean, I just
Yeah, true.
I win decisive tempo and
So
everything
can I
will
play
be.
something? I don't know.
No, I can't play g4. Then I win bishop c8 tempo. That's what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean. You have to play king b3.
So okay, king d3, h5,
Yeah, you have to go king a4.
king
I mean,
f4,
that
okay.
it's all forced. King d6, king a5, king. Yeah, I mean, I can't let your king get to b6. Then I will.
No, okay, that was well played. And here you think it's still a draw? Wow.
Okay, I mean, at least this body is
no,
running.
no,
Yeah.
but maybe I have to think of giving the pawn. But
No,
okay.
but right now you
Maybe
lose. Yeah.
computer will say it's winning. Maybe it will say it's draw. I don't know. Actually,
But
I have
okay,
no idea. But
right now, I mean, where could you have played anything else? Was my question, yeah, because king b4 now is c5, and king a4 just looks pretty
Yeah.
weird. So bishop f1 is already
okay.
the
Bishop f1. Looks
yeah,
normal.
like bishop c8.
Bishop c8. And can I play more precise, like a4 directly?
Okay, still, I mean, I'll just push the pawn.
Yeah.
h4,
Yeah.
take, take,
Takes. King b4.
king d6,
King b6.
d.
Ah, d6. Yeah. a5. But okay, you have a tempo more, no?
No, it's the same. I mean, king b4, king d6 in the game, and if you would have played a4, I would have played
Yeah, but
h4.
king c3 was maybe stupid. Because okay, what I calculated here was quite complicated. Okay, you play h4, takes, and here my first idea was to play b4.
Yeah, but then I go, wait, what?
No,
I think bishop e6.
yeah, you go bishop e6, I play a3.
Oh no, b4 probably the. No, I will go h3. Sorry. No.
h3, okay, king d2.
And then I have king d5, right?
Yeah, king d5, king e3,
h2,
bishop g2,
king c4,
bishop takes c6.
bishop e6.
Yeah, that was the.
Yeah, it's just a draw.
No,
yeah?
yes, bishop e6 because king d4 is losing.
Yeah, king
because
b4
I-
both.
I-
But I think
No,
yeah,
but
bishop
bishop
e6 is
e6
the draw.
was, yeah. So okay, I couldn't. So then I didn't know what to play. But at the end, I managed to be maybe worse at some point.
No, but I mean exactly this with a 4-5 you survive. Yeah, I mean I can never win. Because like I have no
but-
move.
Yeah,
No, but here
the computer says
it's winning for black.
for black. Yeah, I was
Yes,
thinking that.
the idea bishop e6, bishop
Yeah.
d5.
Yeah, but a5, a6.
Yeah, but
No, after king c7. After
Okay,
you
king
played king
c7.
c7.
after,
So it was
sorry.
important
What?
that king is on
After
c7.
b4 this is winning?
Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, but okay, I thought I had no choice to play d5.
Yeah, but okay, I felt like I'm the one who's gonna lose this after
I don't know,
bishop
actually, I was
d5.
not confident in this position, so. So, you know, I was pretending, like, okay, it's problem.
But after d5, if black takes.
Take
Yeah, but he'll
king
just
d4,
put king
that
on
was my-
d4 and
No, maybe you
okay,
can just
but
play bishop.
bishop c4, b3,
d7,
c2.
Bishop a4, bishop c2, bishop e4. Yeah, I was not so confident for me.
Oh.
So yeah, so here's the basically king cannot go anywhere. Bishop is staying and
But
The
okay,
idea-
it looks quite complicated because I always have the pawn that can.
but king is holding the pawn.
Yeah, true. I agree.
Yeah, okay, that's
No, but
Right.
yeah, actually, I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
but
so-
like bishop c8, d5
And
takes
so I was never
b5.
winning. The computer said it was never winning for white.
No, before I believe that once black was pushing h4, it was still equal, and then I don't remember at which exactly moment, but it was already. In, so
Yeah, I
this
think
end position is
F3.
already winning for
Yeah,
black.
it's winning for black, but never for white in the game. No, sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
So after this queen e7 and knight e5, so then it was slightly better for you, but
Yeah, okay, just like you. Okay. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
you just evaluated better than me, huh?
okay.
Except here, I knew it was kind of dangerous
but
for me,
like-
but okay.
Okay, so a little bit unexpected result, and good luck in tomorrow, second round, and
Yeah.
hope you had. Did you have a good rest yesterday?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
We needed it, but
yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah,
And
thanks.
good luck tomorrow.
Bye.
Okay, I'm back. Too bad I didn't hear some part what they were saying, but at least from the expression of Maxime, he showed this idea of bishop c4. You know, I don't know. I mean, I had a feeling that Vincent should have tried to press there, but maybe there was a very subtle draw. I mean, I don't know. It was a very tense game, and I was able to shuffle the pieces a little. So I think this bishop c4, bishop a2, bishop b1 idea definitely had to be explored, and definitely black is not risking anything because white's not in time to play king e3, king f2. But yeah, I guess I missed something. It was there was a question in the chat who offered the draw. I think it was a mutual agreement. I think it was Vincent who offered the draw. But yeah, I think black was winning. Maybe I'm mistaken. Alrighty, let's follow the remaining game, which is still ongoing. Which is Kirill Alexeyenko against Sari Nikal. So we have this position, and this could be played for a long time because it's not even clear who is playing here for the win. Probably black or white. I don't know. I mean, white still enjoys the extra pawn, but this bishop on e1 and that bishop on b5 really makes a powerful impression. Maybe let's check how you play here. So for example, rook c5, the bishop on b5 is under attack. And let's say I play something like, so the pawn on a2 also is under. Let's say something like bishop d3. Can I do this? So I'm threatening to take the pawn on a2. Wait, what was the position? Here? Wait, this is not a position, right? I mean, no, this is the position. You know, I tell you honestly, I mean, I understand nothing of this position. I understand the objective evaluation. It should be equal because black has powerful bishops for the pawn. That should be compensated. How to play this out? How to play this out? Maybe let me refresh the board. It's gonna update the clocks. No, it still doesn't show. So maybe it's something like bishop d3 here. Bishop d3, threatening to take the pawn, plus maybe at some point bishop b3. But let's say if white plays something like rook c1, where's this bishop gonna go? Not here, because it's under attack. Bishop g3, I guess. It makes sense. Something like knight b4, attacking the bishop, defending the pawn. Here. How do you push this pawn? This is move 41. 41. No, definitely Nikal hasn't lost on time. He has something like 15 minutes on the clock, and based on how much time has passed, maybe he is something like half an hour on the clock. Still a lot of time. Still a lot of time. Wait. So 95. You know, I'm starting to have some thoughts here. Why Nikal is sitting here for so long? Maybe he is unhappy with his last decision to play bishop e1 because that's such an active move. Because now after rook c5, this bishop might not have anywhere to go. For example, there's this rook c1 still threatened. Although I don't understand, why not rook c1 right away? Because still this bishop cannot go here. So it would force him to play bishop g3, and then rook c5 would be impossible, would it? No, I guess it would be possible. I don't understand really. I mean, maybe Nikal just realized something, that instead of that he is going to push this position for some activity of the two bishops, that he has to fight for the draw, and now he's unhappy with the decisions that he made. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I was trying to find a safe way out, right? I mean, black gives up the bishop for the pawn on a2. Somehow the position simplifies. Both players happy, walk home with a draw. But what if that doesn't happen? What if the players continue to play on? Also, quite an interesting idea might be some rook c7 idea. And knight f6. Wait, is this working even? So let's say the bishop goes here. Can I do this? And I take it. Knight f6 check, so you cannot obviously take it, that's a pin. King g6. You know, looks so scary for white. I mean, it just takes one mistake, bishop f2 or bishop g3, that's it, you're just getting mated there. Yeah, rook c7, rook a2. There might be some fork here attacking the rook and the bishop, but and then take it and play knight f6. Maybe this is the way to go. Yeah. So I imagine Nihal is evaluating that this bishop on d3 or e2 after rook a2 might fall under some kind of fork. So let's say again, bishop d3, rook c7, rook a2, knight c1. Crazy line. I don't get it. So, and that's not a pin, right? Rook a1, I could just take it. Knight x on d3. That's not a mate. There's rook c1. So bishop a5 is still rook c1. You know, the more I'm looking at this position is I think Alexienko played a very tricky move, rook c5, and this is what made Sarin feel uneasy. Because let's go back to this position. If Alexienko had played rook c7, try to trade it still with knight f6. Now black can play rook a2, knight f6, king g6, and this is the position which I sort of saw with the bishop on d3. But having included rook c5 with a bishop, let's say on e2 or d3, now this idea might appear because now there's knight c1. You know, I have a feeling that I understand what Sarin is thinking about. He's thinking that this rook c5 forces his bishop to go to d2, d3 or e2. Then after rook c7, he can no longer take on a2 because after the bishop on d3 on e2, there's going to be knight c1 fork, and the pawn on f6 still hangs, so there's no mate. I think so. I mean, I don't know. Again, let's double check it. Let's say bishop d3, rook c7. It's not even clear if this is... I mean, obviously, white is not risking anything, right? I mean, the a pawn suddenly increased in power. So let's say rook a2, knight c1. There might be some check here. How do you play here? Take. And just take it. So that's... Although there's going to be h4, I mean, I don't understand it. Something like king g6 or h6, I don't understand. Let's say, whatever, king h6, so that there's no knight e8. And knight e5, this rook c1, check here, king g5. I don't think white can win this with such active pieces. Plenty of time for Mikhail Sarin. He has to understand these nuances. I cannot understand them, but I think I managed to explain what is happening right now in Sarin's head. And Alexienko found this very tricky move, rook c5. But the question is really bishop d3 or e2 necessary? Can he just go bishop e8? Although probably, wait, it's the same, right? It's the same. So wait a second. So Sarin simply doesn't have a good move. So there's simply no good move to move the bishop. Because rook c7 now is incoming after everything. Because after bishop a4, there's rook c7. After bishop a6, there's rook c7. The pawn on a2 is not under attack. After bishop d3 or bishop e2, there's rook c7. Rook a2, knight c1. Which is crazy. It's so easy to miss this. I mean, I didn't see that at the start. I just randomly made a move. So bishop d7 doesn't help you. So I guess if I understand what is correctly happening here, is that Sarin is thinking, should I trade the rooks? And is there a draw? He's no longer fighting for the win here. So he definitely missed this idea of rook c5. And I think he's going to go with something like this. I think so. Bishop d3. Still going for activity. Rook c7. I'm not sure if rook c7 is even mandatory. I mean, this is just what I'm thinking. Now there's this fork. And something like bishop f2 check and... Oh, wait. Yeah, bishop f2 check. Now something like rook. Where does it go? I guess rook a3. Probably you need to eliminate this bishop, although then again I'm not sure. Takes, check. Here. Although there's this check here. Doesn't change anything, does it? Here. Knight e5, h4. So why there's nothing time to play this? You know, I think it's going to be something like this. That is my absolute best guess. It's so deep. I mean, I don't know. If I would have to immediately say what's happening on this board, I would just... I wouldn't find it. Yeah, rook c5, amazing move. So, if you go back, bishop b4, knight e5, maybe bishop e1 was not a good move. Come on, I mean... Bishop e1 is such a natural move because you want to let bishop g3, h4 go after the white king and see from afar there's going to be rook c5, rook c7, knight c1. Come on. It's so easy to miss this. If I even understand what is happening here, maybe I'm just blabbering and telling you something which is not even being considered by the players. But I think I'm correct. The only thing is, which is slightly annoying, is that we are not seeing the clock. We don't see Sarin's clock. I don't know how much time he has. So, you know, from the personal experience, I can tell you that definitely Sarin probably suspects that the position by trading the rooks, maybe it's a draw, but if you're not sure, you just don't want to go there. You just don't want to go there because a good player always is how to say better, is not gambling. A good player is never gambling, so he needs to make sure He understands what is happening there. So it's very difficult, for example, for black here to accept, let's say, bishop d3, rook c7, takes on c7, with the thoughts, okay, maybe I'm going to make a draw there, right? Maybe it's just lost. Maybe the a-pawn just advances forward because the king on h7 is so far away. Yeah, I think Saran is not happy. So again, my best guess is going to be this. Not sure about. I mean, again, this position needs to be evaluated. Can you play this position? I mean, the knight on c7. Oh wait, the knight goes back, right? Yeah, knight goes back. Yeah, I thought I'm imprisoning the knight on c7. So needs to understand, can he hold this position maybe for a draw? Or he has to go here. And understand any moment which is happening after knight f6. Yeah, this is definitely a moment which decides the game. So completely understandable that he's thinking here. He's spending time like there's no tomorrow because there might be no tomorrow. There's a question in the chat, what did they miss? I think he missed rook c5. Very nice intermezzo move. What about, there's a question in the chat, what about rook c1 after bishop d3? No, I don't think this is something that really concerns Sarin, because he just plays something like bishop g3. I mean, this is a rich game. You're just seeking ways to generate some activity. The a-pawn doesn't go anywhere. I think why he's sitting here for so long is that he sees this fork on c1. I mean, I didn't see this. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy because it's so easy to miss this. Because let's say my typical thinking when I go into this position is that I'm expecting rook c7. There's going to be take. And even this, if I even see this by some miracle, where's the big deal, right? I can play bishop d3, here, and I calculate knight f6. There's going to be something like king g6. There's going to be huge activities, whatnot. And suddenly, at some moment, it dawns upon you that there's some kind of a knight c1 fork out of the blue, pinning the, not the pinning, but forking the rook on a2 and the bishop on d3, and still the threat of knight f6 remains. And it's so easy to miss this from afar. As you can see, yeah, he just grabbing the head because I think he has to make a big decision here. I mean, maybe he is already stopping to calculate this line because, again, let me tell you how a human mind operates. We are not computers, obviously. So a typical grandmaster calculation here is, let's say, I'm calculating this from the black's perspective. I'm sitting here, I'm Nikol Sarin, I'm calculating this line. So I'm seeing that, okay, so bishop d3, rook c7 is incoming. I see that rook takes on a2. I already noticed knight c1, forking my rook and the bishop. Bishop f2 check seems to be very obvious. King h2. And I need to understand how dangerous is this threat. For example, rook a3, knight e3, rook d3, knight f6. And I just might stop calculating this line right now. Because I feel, okay, this is bad, this is dangerous, whatever. Maybe it's not bad, but it's how we are operating. I mean, we are just stopping at someone, okay, this is, I don't like this. I just don't like this. I mean, he has this extra pawn, the knight goes back to d5. I stop calculating this. But sometimes all it took is just one more move to check. For example, king g6, h4, and suddenly, oh, it's actually playable. I know this from my personal experience. Sometimes I'm calculating a line, I just draw a line. So maybe that's why maybe I'm drawing the line at the wrong moment. So normally the correct idea is to calculate the forced variation as far as possible, then draw the line. You're not coming back to that line. But sometimes you are calculating this line. Okay, you drop this. You calculate the next line with the two knights against the two bishops and the a pawn. You don't like it, you drop it, and you start to evaluate. Wait a second, did I miss something? And you start to reevaluate, and you go back. You go back to those lines you calculated, and you again revisit this line. Wait, was there something else? Am I missing something? Because maybe you might have this intuition which says there might be something, and then, oh yeah, there's king g6 h4, for example, and then you're just like taunting yourself. Why didn't I think about this half an hour ago? So this is maybe some part of this I think is happening in Saren's head. So probably not, but I'm just explaining what I'm thinking. So definitely he's not thinking any simple moves. Should I go bishop d3? Should I go bishop e2? Should I go bishop d7? He sees rook c7. He sees the fork on c1. He sees that white is training the bishop for the knight. He sees that he loses the pawn. Maybe he's already evaluating this endgame. For example, after bishop d3, rook c7, rook a2, knight c1, bishop f2, king h2, rook a3, knight e3, rook d3, knight f6, king h6, knight e5, h4, and he's just trying to understand this position. Can he go here? Maybe it's not really so obvious. And for example, he sees rook c1, and maybe he decides, okay, I just stop it. I just don't like this. So what else? I mean, what else? Because bishop e8 he's definitely not going to play. It makes no sense. There's going to be rook c7. Rook b7 is the same rook c7. It makes no sense. So essentially the choice Michal has here is a choice between holding the endgame, two bishops against a passed pawn and two knights, or sacrificing a pawn and keeping some activity. I think he's going to play bishop d3. Maybe bishop e2, I don't understand it. But we also should take into account another factor, which is chess psychology. Maybe he is convincing himself he just made a mistake. Because you don't know that, you don't have the information that this position is holding to you. And maybe he's just, yeah, he plays bishop d3 just as I expected. So I think rook c7 will be played. I don't think there's going to be anything else. But the question is it enough? Is it enough for Alexienko? Maybe he has already calculated this to be not enough. So he sees rook c7, rook a2, knight c1, bishop f2 check, king h2, rook a3, knight a3, rook d3, knight f6, knight e5, h4. He sees all of this. I mean, these guys, they see more than I do. And I'm allowed to move pieces. So there you go. He just put the position in his head. He's not sleeping. Don't worry about this. He's calculating. Sometimes it's easier to imagine yourself this position in your head. So you just look left and right. You just cover your head. You just physically remove every obstacle you have. And you try to calculate this position in your head. Maybe you're going to find something. I'm not sure if Alexienko is really going to go rook c1. I think this is slightly less predictable. He should know. He should know that black has a very good activity. He has powerful bishops. And if he misplays it, he could actually lose it. So it's not like Alexienko is thinking, oh, I have the extra pawn. I'm the one who is just playing here for the win. He knows the dangers of the bishops. He knows how it's possible to misplay it. So maybe Maybe he sees the idea of rook c7, all those lines which I said, and he's trying to understand, should I look for more? Or maybe he's just looking at something else. I mean, this certainly has happened before. I'm trying to explain something. He's just thinking about, I don't know, about the hippopotamus, right? How to get it out of the marsh. I mean, I don't know. No, probably not. It's just Mikhail Tal who is thinking about this, but I think he already, there's a question in the chat what he's evaluating this endgame. I think he already evaluated it a long time ago. He just needs to make a big decision. Is he gonna try to push it and play rook c1 for unclear position? Because rook c1 forces black's bishop go to g3 and then do something with the knights. I don't know. Let's say he's gonna, maybe he's thinking about this one. Rook c1, bishop g3, and wait, what about knight c5 and a4? How do you stop these pawns? I mean, here, a4 takes, pin. So you're gonna do that, right? You're gonna take it. So bishop here goes away, and rook a1. Let's say rook a5. No, he just loses the pawn, right? And this is just a draw. This is just a draw. Nah, I don't think Alexienko is gonna go here. I mean, I think he sees the final position after rook c7 long before I did. Long before I did. He is just looking for more. He has already made his decision. I think typically a chess grandmaster is thinking like, I have this rook c7, rook a2, knight c1, etc., this long line, and if anything else doesn't work, I'm gonna go here. I still have half an hour on the clock. I can work on this. I can try to find something. So let's say I'm gonna sit here for something like 15 minutes. I'm gonna try to find something. I'm gonna try to find rook c1 work. Rook c1, bishop g3, I don't know, knight c5, a4, all of those lines. Let's say it doesn't work. So I'm calculating all of those lines. I have, this is what I call myself my minimal program, because if all of that fails and I don't find anything else, I'm gonna try to play rook c7, although deep inside, probably I believe it's a draw, but it's gonna be my opponent who is gonna be forced to make it. I'm not sure what to add here. So essentially, like I said, I think he is choosing between seeking some chances after rook c1 and going after rook c7. Rook c7 he has already calculated a long time ago, I think. He just is not exactly happy with the outcome. I mean, he's playing with white, right? And again, there's this thing that there's a tournament strategy that he didn't play great rapid tournament. You also need to remember this one. So let me show you maybe the rankings. So here's the rankings after rapid tournament. And Alexienko is only at 4th place. He's playing against Mikhail Sarin, who is ahead with 10 points. So for him, oh, where did my camera go? So for him, draw is not a good result. But then again, I think if he had any chances, he had them before. I don't think they're here. I guess we're gonna find out. Yeah, in the meantime, I want to remind that our coverage is gonna continue tomorrow. So after this game is finished, probably we are gonna wait for the interview, but that's it. You know, maybe I'm gonna make a short break. Wait, is he moving? He's playing Rook C7, is he now? Man, he's touching something else. No, he plays Rook C1. Okay, I was wrong. So Rook C1, Bishop G3 is going to be played. I wanted just to announce commercial break. Bishop G3 is the only move here. I don't think Sarin has anything else. The bishop cannot go anywhere else. Yes, some Bishop G3 is played very quickly. I think it's going to be now Knight C5. No, Knight B4. This I didn't calculate at all. So I'm pretty sure that Sarin didn't spend any time here. Did he calculate Knight B4? I don't think so. I don't think so. This is something you don't expect because he was expecting only Rook C7, I think mostly. Maybe after Rook C1, Bishop G3, Knight C5. Now, you cannot calculate everything. So I think this is probably a new position to him. Maybe I'm wrong again. No, he was calculating it as well. Okay. Apparently, he calculated everything. So, my mistake. Bishop E5 is played. All right, I'm going to make a short break anyway. And maybe I'm going to do it like this so that you can continue watching the game. Let me just go for the break scene. And just a second, let me prepare it. Just a second. Just a second. I'm still here. So I just wanted to leave the scene active so that you can follow it and run some music in the background. Yeah, I'm not sure, it's not working for some reason. Sorry about that. All right, I don't know why it's not working. Okay, I'm gonna be back in 5 minutes. And we are back. Let me check if something has changed here. So Alexienko decided to play knight b4, bishop b5. I think this was the moment we missed. By the way, the camera... here we go, we are back. The camera is working again, and after rook c5, bishop e8 was played by the Indian young talent. Maybe one of the factors which contributed for Alexienko to continue with the game was that he's also ahead on the clock. He has 23 minutes against Sarin's 20, although they still get additional 15 minutes if they're gonna reach 60th move. So in the meantime, maybe I can try to check the overall rankings while we are waiting for this game to finish. Since Gata Kamsky, yeah, maybe I'm gonna first show you the results of today. Yeah, here are today's results. Gata Kamsky with white beat Noel Studer. Maxime Lagarde made a draw against Vincent Kimmer. I think I saw a win for black in then, but then again I might have missed something. It was sort of like a study-like approach. Alain Pichot quite unexpectedly with black pieces beat Boris Gelfand after the latter blundered in a very, very sharp position. Now these are the standings currently without one game, which is still ongoing between Alexienko and Nikala Sarin. So it's worth 4 points. I don't think Nikala is playing for the win here. If he's gonna make a draw, that would mean he reaches 12 points, and that would effectively make him in the second place overall. And Alexienko desperately needs this point because this would again allow him to be in contention and be just 3 points from Gatakamsky and be in the second place overall. So that's why you see the stakes are high, and naturally they are interested to fight it out because the reward for winning the classical game is big. I mean, it's not really like in the rapid tournament because the difference between 2 draws and victory and a loss, it's the same, right? It's 2 points for the win, 1 point for the draw. So if I make 2 draws, that's the same 1 victory. But in the classical tournament, the rules are slightly different. It's 4 points for the victory and 1.5 points for the draw. So they are really kindly invited to try to play for the win. Right, so I'm not sure how. I guess the human choice here for white would be to play king f1, king f1, king e2, because I don't think white is ever gonna win this position without the king. He needs the king, and the king on g1 always is gonna be in causing some issues. So let's say something like king f1. Can I do this? Seems to be very logical. Now the pawn on a2 is under attack, but it's defended. What if black plays rook a4? Attacking the knight on b4 and attacking the pawn on a2. Right, and rook c4 now means bishop b5. So I guess king f1 is not possible. So if king f1 is not possible, what do you play here? What do you play here? Knight is not moving. Rook move, not really clear where. This knight, maybe something like knight a5, knight c6. I don't understand. And if I play something like bishop e1, maybe bishop e1 is not a great move because, yeah, a3, I guess, defends it. Maybe it's going to be something like rook a5, rook c7, rook c5. But then again, I think Alexienko is going to fight it out. He already made his decision. Yeah, so indeed, I think that Alexienko is playing a little bit with fire here, but then again, the tournament situation demands it. Because had I been in different roles, let's say in overall standings, Alexienko would be ahead. He just probably just make a draw, right? But every single games in classical tournament counts, especially with white. Yeah. I mean, I always have believed that every single player has a cracking point or a breaking point. Some people don't break after 20 moves. They break after 30 moves. Some people break after 50 moves. Some people break after 100 moves. They make mistakes sooner or later. Maybe this is what Alexienko is looking for. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, maybe in the meantime, we can very quickly check what is happening in the MTO, in the open tournament. Just a second, I'm gonna open it here. There you go. That's Biel's official website. And yesterday started the Masters tournament. There's some other tournaments as well, as you can see. There's the amateur tournament. There's the Swiss Youth Championship tournament. But in the Masters tournament, there's so many strong players. Where's the... I think I had it. Should be here. Oh, and I see a surprise here actually is that Alexander Donchenkov has lost. He was one of the top seeds, if not the top seed of the MTO. No, that's actually a surprise. I think there was a list of the... Where's the list of the participants? Or was it just the chess results? Yeah, I guess I have to open chess results. And yeah, maybe I'm gonna move it slightly here. Yeah, Salem Saleki is the top seed. And indeed, there's some surprises. Wait, where are they? Where is Alexander Donchenko? I don't see him. Just a second. And Doncic already had lost half a point. Wow. So he's sitting half a point out of 2. Quite incredible. Yeah, so super strong tournament. I mean, open tournament. The first round, as you can see, the top seeds already playing against EMs, International Masters, FMs. And still all the favorites managed to score victories, and the same applies for today. Sitterman quite unexpectedly lost with white against Alessio Valsecchi, but still, that was a grandmaster fight. Right. All right, let's check if something has changed in the game. No, nothing has changed. Alexienko is still thinking. So in parallel, we have the MTO Opens tournament, Masters Open tournament with huge prizes, which has attracted a lot of very strong grandmasters. They're playing 9 rounds. The first round was played, I think, yesterday, including with the amateur tournament. And so in total, how many players did they have? Yeah, 70 plus players. And yeah, this is definitely something that we are gonna follow in the final stages, in the final rounds, when we are gonna have some little breaks from the main Grandmaster tournament, because these people are also very, very serious players and definitely can produce really exciting action. All right, Alexienko is sitting there. The body language doesn't show that he is very happy. Yeah, so I guess you need to make a decision sooner or later, because now he is going to be about the same time as Nikol Sarin. So I think there's already a way to make a draw. Rook a5, rook c7, rook c5, rook a7, draw agreed, because I don't see how black can try to play this for the win. For example, here, it's just some kind of eternal attack. Although there might be some... but I don't think so. Rook b7, a3, bishop f7, attacking the rook and the bishop. Rook and the knight. And then, yeah. Now should be just a draw. All right, so he plays knight a5. I guess the idea is to play knight c6. Now, this is a move that Sarin should have expected. I mean, it looks quite natural, because this is something I was paying to attention before. The question is, what is white planning really? Is it knight c6? I don't follow. I mean, knight c6 might be even rook a3. And the pawns are still not... The pawn is still not moving forward. Oh, wow. Check out this line, which is offered by the engine. Check this out. f5. e4. Bishop d6 is a threat. Who is going to go here? Bishop d6. Knight b3. Takes. Nobody plays like that. Okay, this is not going to happen. I was just amused by this idea by the engine, but how do you even spot this? f5e for bishop d6 invalid. No, this is definitely not something he's going to do. So he plays king h6. We still don't have it on the feed. Very natural choice. Wait, I think the cam is stuck. Yeah, so king h6 has been played. I guess the idea is to activate the king and in future escape against any of these rook c7, knight f6 ideas which were available before. Yeah, the cam is lagging. Yeah. Maybe white could try to play something like knight e5, knight e3, knight f5. Something like this. Actually, knight e5 makes a lot of sense. It also allows to activate the king. So king h6, oh wait, I missed the move. King h6, king f1, and h4 were included. Yeah, I was looking at this position here. Yeah, so after knight f5, king h6, king f1, h4, knight e5. Wait, is this on the board? Oh, this is not on the board. Yeah, still waiting for the feed to come back. Knight e5 is played. Makes sense, I guess. Activate the knight. Activate the king. At least in the past few moves, I have an impression that white has achieved some progress. Yeah, the cam is stuck. King g5 is played. That makes perfect sense. Maybe even g6, f5 ideas. King e2 is a very easy move. You want to make it with a can, so to speak. Yeah, unfortunately the cam is missing now. I don't know what happened there. Oh, wait. What? Just a second. Oh, that's the wrong camera. A3 was played by Alexeyenko. So now we see another camera from the playing hall. As you can see, they have this amazing huge hall where the open tournaments are being played. I think those are prizes to the right. Now, at least I get the impression from the position is that Alexienko has managed to get something, at least something, because he has rearranged the pieces. The black bishops are not really working together. The knights on d5 and a5, they're limiting this rook here because it has nowhere to join the game. Right, rook b6, rook c6, maybe something like this, but this would allow white to execute a fork on c7. So essentially, these knights and the rook have taken care of the rook on a7. So something like king e2, king d3, king c4. Now white has some chances. Yeah, now we have the cam, but okay, here we go. The camera is back. Yeah, it's from the black's perspective, I think he made all the normal moves. Apparently, this entire idea of bishop g3, h5, h4, king h6, king g5 was not so good. Yeah, the bishop on g3 is simply disconnected. And around here, yeah, I really like white's chances. Bishop a4 was played. Now, why can't you just play automatically again king e2? King e2, king d3, king c4, king b4 makes a lot of sense to me. So the bishop on e8 had nothing better to do, so Sarin improves it. King e2 is played. Yeah, that is a very reasonable choice. Activating the king. Although king d3 allows bishop f2. I mean, the king on e2 definitely stands bare. Bishop h2. Wow. So the idea is to play bishop g1. And bother the rook, and the knight on a5 is going to be lost. Okay. I guess it makes sense because the bishop on g3 is not doing anything. Yeah, Alexienko shook his head a little, had a glance at the clock. This is what we call a mini blunder. I mean, not a big deal. Probably he can just go back in f1, at least repeat the position, and then seek something else. King f2 allows bishop g3, repeat the position, king f1. He essentially lost the tempo. It's not even clear should he allow that because black is seeking some counter activity with g6, f5, or maybe f5, right? I mean, I don't know. Then again, after king f1, black is not obliged to play bishop g3. Maybe he can go for this g6, f5. Yeah. And this is just the first round. Yeah, this is going to be a long, long tournament. Already in the first round, we have such a long game. So let's check what happens if he... Okay, he plays king f2. I wanted to check in a moment what happens after king f2. Let's say bishop g3 check and go back. I don't think that was with the purpose to win sometime, was it? Because there's this known strategy sometimes to repeat a position a couple of times so that you get closer to the next time control. But is it really so critical here? So this is the move 52. I think, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say what I think. I already announced it a couple of times wrongly that Alexienko should take the draw, but then again, the tournament situation says something else. He does have the extra pawn after all, but then again, black is so active, you could easily misplay it. You are down slightly on the clock. Black's moves are easier to make. And Alexienko is experienced enough. He knows what is the difference. So this is just the first round. There might be no need to burn all the bridges. King f1. So he's going to continue to fight. Not king f2. Bishop g3, go back. And now he's going to seek something else. King e2 already would mean... I think that's already traveled repetition. So definitely he's not going to do that. Otherwise, he would just play king f2 and shake hands. Now, the question is what he has chosen. He can still go for it. He can still repeat the position. No, but he's not going to do it, obviously. Knight c3. So I guess the idea is to play knight e2. Try to trap the bishop on g3. But even if he does it, black can just keep the bishop here. So for example, let's say after knight c3, black plays something like bishop e8, knight e2. And even this is not really a threat. Just make some random move. Let's say here, takes, and takes. It's not even clear if white should be very happy about this. Not even mentioning about some future ideas. If the king goes so far away, some bishop h3, g2 ideas might appear. Not really sure. Probably not knight e2. There's a comment that they drew. I don't think they drew. They're still playing. They're still playing. Bishop e8, knight c4 was played. Now the knight is improved. I guess the idea of knight e2 might still appear at some point. Although white could be thinking about the moment to push forward the pawn. This bishop on g3 is disconnected from the action. And this is move 54. There's a question in the chat why he was repeating the position. There might be two reasons why Alexienko was repeating the position with king f2, king e2. He is using this trick to get closer to the next time control. That is one thing. The second, he's winning time. Twice repeating the position gains 1 minute on the clock, and also it sends some signal to his opponent that he already is willing to accept a draw, so opponent willingly repeats it, and then suddenly comes a rejection. This rejection is mind game, so to speak, and so the sends a negative message to the opponent that, listen, buddy, I'm gonna try to outplay you no matter what. So I think it's a great practical try. Bishop f7, a4 is on the board. Alexienko has started to play a lot faster. As you can see, he's immediately responding. This is what I call switching to the rapid mode. And the pawn is marching forward. Slowly, but it's marching forward. And the bishop on g3 is out of the game. If we have a look at this position, we were some time before. We had it here. We had it here. Clearly, white has made a progress. White has improved his pieces. The pawn was moved by 1 square forward, rearranging the knights 1 more square forward. I think around here, Sarin should have start to get thoughts he's no longer controlling the game. Because I would. Now it's just not so clear because those knights are indeed really annoying. Yeah, bishop e6 is a move you make with your hand, but it's not really clear what exactly it does. So this is a typical move by a blitz player. Just make a move and see what happens. Maybe you're just imagining some phantom threats. Just show you what you've got. Because if white plays something like a5, there's going to be bishop takes on c4 and rook a5. The pawn is back. King e2 again allows bishop h2. So the king cannot be moved. So I guess knight e5. How do you play here actually? Rook? No. Knight b6. I guess the idea is to play a5 next. Slowly, but pushing it forward. Yeah, there's the assumption in the chat that Kirill is close to winning. You know, I also see the evaluation of the engine, but probably he is already winning, but Yeah, this bishop on g3 is disconnected, and I think Sorin knows this. He knows it. He's misplayed it. He is not sure where exactly he misplayed it. Probably he should have these thoughts. Okay, why did I position the bishop on g3? Should have positioned somewhere on f8 and just sit passively and just wait for it. So we have, how much time do we have? This is move 50, 56. Sar needs to make 4 moves. But yeah, indeed, I have a feeling that with every single move, his position is deteriorating. Yeah, he checks the score sheet. He knows he has 4 moves. The problem with the king side pawns is that it's not clear if he should push them forward because they make more weaknesses. Something like f5, just take on f5, knight e4 is incoming. I would say that so far this has been a very powerful grind by the Russian Grandmaster. Bishop f4 played. I guess the threat is bishop e3. Knight d5, I suppose. Knight b to d5, but yeah, knight b to d5 appears to be very, very normal looking move. Then a5, maybe something like knight b d5, a5, king e2, king d3. And now this bishop h to bishop g1 at some point already might not be a big problem. So probably Kirill already suspects he's winning. King e2 played. Again, bishop h2 should be easy move for Sarin in time trouble. Not really time trouble, but again, he is looking to reach this next time control. Bishop h2 is played. And maybe I don't think he is gonna allow bishop g1. Is he now? Wait, knight bd5 and rook c7 now is an idea. Can he do that? He also checks the score sheet, how much moves he needs to make. Well, you have plenty of time. You have 6 minutes on the clock. It's just what, 3 moves? No, 2 moves for white. I think Kirill is looking at this. Knight e5, bishop g1, and rook c7. Yeah, I know this. I know this feeling when you're double checking your score sheet because you might have made a mistake before. Sometimes something like this happens when you write the score sheet and you just miss a move. It's not supposed to happen at professional level, but sometimes this happens. For example, it's move 57. You think it's move 57, it's actually move 56. And you think you have made 60 moves, actually it's 59 moves. So that's why sometimes you start to get really worried when your clock is ticking. You're just looking at the score sheet, double checking, and you're just looking over at your opponent's score sheet, double checking. Does he really have this move 58? Or is it just me? Maybe I just made a mistake. King f2, he repeats the position. No, it doesn't mean there's going to be a draw. He just makes sure. He just makes sure he's not going to miss anything. He'll have a little time to think. The next time control is 15 minutes. Extra. King E2 is played. I think he'll just get up. Or maybe not. Now, he still needs to make one more move. Knight e5 makes an easy move. And then maybe after the second time control, he can make the decision to think about whether to go rook c7 or not. So this is something which comes with experience, that you try not to make big decisions as the final move of the time control. So maybe, I think that's why Kirill repeated king f2, king e2, king f2, king e2 at several occasions, so that he gets closer to the second time control. Maybe it's not a big deal, but those extra minutes, they will allow him to make this decision when he's feeling more comfortable. Now he knows he just needs to make one move. It's something like 4 minutes on the clock, plenty of time. He knows he's in charge. But at some point, he's going to have to make a move. I think it's going to be knight b to d5. Wait, what happens, by the way, after the rook trade? Knight b d5, bishop g1. Let's say I play rook c7. Can I do this? Maybe it's not a good idea, but... takes, bishop c4 check, king e1. Maybe this pawn actually is not really going anywhere. There's some king f4, king g3. Knight e5, I think I saw it was played. No, rook c6. This I didn't see. That's a slightly strange move. Because it's not allowing to push forward the pawns. I mean, okay, it deals with the bishop g1 threat, but... maybe bishop b3 applying pressure against the pawn on a4. Yeah, bishop b3 definitely is possible, but it's not a threat. I mean, it's double defended. So of course, I think it's going to be bishop b3, but again, for Tsar, it's one more move until the time control. Of course, he plays bishop b3. And now we go on a small break. I'll be back in something like 5 minutes. So I'll be back shortly. All right, and we are back. The remaining game is still continuing. Just a second, my board feed is for some reason missing, but yeah, okay, it's back. So knight c8 was played by Alexienko. And now I guess the idea is that after rook a8, rook c7 could be played. g6, knight e6, knight f7. I don't know. I have a feeling that that this game is gonna continue for a long time, and that is the perks of having the long time control. And so let me again remind you, the time control of this tournament, classical games, is 100 minutes for 40 moves, 50 minutes for the next 20 moves, and 15 minutes until the remaining of the game, and plus 30 seconds. So the players have been playing this for 6 hours. So they're playing it 6 hours. This is just the start of the tournament. They are already having this huge game. And I have a feeling we're going to simply stop the broadcast here, because I just got the word that probably there's also not going to be any interview, because the players are also very much exhausted. It's very difficult. I mean, the schedule is very tough. They had this very tough tournament on Saturday, just 960, a rapid tournament on Sunday. But yeah, they had a rest day yesterday. And now then comes this one, the long day. So the tournament is still ahead. And that being said, I'm finishing my broadcast here, because I have a feeling that they're going to play it for something like still 1 hour. I just cannot do it for so long. And I would like to thank you who watched today's stream, and you can still continue watching the live game at the official channel of Biel Chess Festival. Not sure what to predict with this game. I had already sort of made the prediction that Alexienko probably is going to win the game, because he made this major progress at the queen side, but then with the last moves of rook c7, wait, what is the actual position? Yeah, with the last moves, the rook c6, knight c8, now this started to look really weird, and I realized this is going to be forever. This is going to be forever. So we are essentially looking at 7-hour game here. Either way, we're finishing here. The festival continues, the game still continues. You can continue watch it just without my commentary, and I'm going to be back on, what day is tomorrow? Wednesday, right? Yeah, this is Tuesday. Tomorrow we are going to be back on Wednesday. And take care, enjoy the games, and see you tomorrow.